Namaskar and a heartfelt welcome to all joining us today from across the globe. Educators, wellness, enthusiasts, yoga practitioners, and global citizens alike. I am Divya Mehra, your host and the founder for the Educational Connect with DM, a platform where learning transits borders and meaningful conversations inspire clarity, connection, and change. Today, we gather across the time zones and cultures to honor a tradition that continues to heal, empower, and transform lives, the ancient and the ever evolving practice of yoga. The session for today is Yoga Across Continents, a wellness journey with India and New Zealand. In a world that moves rapidly, often without a pause, yoga ignites us to breathe, slow down, and return to the self. It is far more than postures or poses. It is a philosophy of balance, a science of inner harmony, and a universal bridge between body, mind, and spirit. To lead on this journey of wellness and cultural exchange, we are privileged to welcome two exceptional yoga educators whose work transcends geography but remains rooted in authenticity, compassion, and purpose. Please welcome Dr. Tilak Raj. Join me in welcoming Sir. Sir is a PhD in exercise science, award winning yoga educator, science based yoga practitioner. From the majestic Himalayas to the shores of New Zealand, yeah. Dr. Tilak Raj brings with him a legacy of blending traditional yogic wisdom with modern scientific inquiry. From the majestic Himalayas to the shores of New Zealand, with a PhD in exercise science from the Lincoln University, his research and pedagogies have earned him global recognition, including the Yoga Teacher of the Year award from the New Zealand exercise industry. His work embodies how science and spirituality can co create transformative wellness experiences. So please welcome Dr. Tilak Raj. Namaskar, sir. Welcome to the session today. We are really looking forward to hear from you.
Thank you, Divya.
Coming up next, we have another exceptional yoga influencer, Mr. Mandeep Awana, a yoga professional, founder, the Yoga Gurukul, wellness educator. With over a decade of impactful teaching and leadership, Mr. Mandeep Awana has dedicated himself to making yoga both authentic and accessible. As the founder of the Yoga Gurukul and a PhD scholar in yoga, he has led 35 plus national wellness programs in partnership with the Government of India. His mission is clear to bring the roots of traditional yoga into the realities of modern communities, nurturing well being across ages, abilities, and backgrounds. Please join me in welcoming Sir Mandeep. Welcome, sir. Sir, you're muted.
Thank you, Divya ma'am, for inviting me
Well,
on this beautiful platform.
thank you, sir. It's an honor and it's a privilege that we have two incredible guests across the countries. So we have Dr. Tilak Raj from New Zealand and Sir Mandeep is joining from India. And today's session is all about the contrast between the two continents. That yoga is a widely accepted practice and it's gaining quite a momentum these days. So today in discussion, we are going to be talking to Sir Tilak and Sir Mandeep, talking about how yoga's influence has a practicality in today's life. So I think let's continue with the session without much and further ado. A journey through yoga. Let's begin with the first idea. What exactly is yoga? Yoga originates from the Sanskrit word which means union, a union of mind, body, and soul. It is not just a physical exercise, it's a way of life that promotes balance, awareness, and inner peace. Yoga includes postures, breathing techniques, and meditation, all designed to help us live healthier and a more mindful life. Let's look into the history that how and where did the origination of yoga led us to. Yoga being a practice that weighs beyond 5,000 years ago in ancient India, from the Indus Valley seals to the Vedas, from Patanjali's Yoga Sutras to the rise of Hatha Yoga, it has evolved through centuries. In a modern era, India's masters like Swami Vivekananda introduced the yoga to the West, making it a global practice. Furthermore, making it around looking at its importance across the globe, in 2015, United Nations declared 21st June as an International Yoga Day, honoring the gift of the wellness to the world. So, as it marks to be quite a significant and an important day in the history that somewhere it started and originated from the roots in India, it has gained momentum across the world in today's time. It is no big uh, surprising factor to note that specifically yoga adds a lot of benefits to our lifestyle, and the roots goes back to the traditional Indian history. As we welcome both the guests, let us honor the International Yoga Day that was celebrated on 21st June, just a day behind. Today, we celebrate yoga. Let's remember it's not just about doing yoga, but about living yoga with peace, focus, and harmony. So, as we proceed further, let's talk to our guest and know much better about how yoga has its essence today. So, talking about international yoga, Sir Tilak, I would be raising to you the first thing. As we are discussing about International Yoga Day celebrated just today across on 21st June. Can you highlight the importance of celebrating it in New Zealand? How has it been, and what was your experience? So kindly, please, the children are really looking, and the audience is really looking forward to hear from you, sir.
Thank you, Divya. So in New Zealand, usually the International Day of Yoga is organized by communities. It's like a community event. Quite a number of places. Like I taught on a few places, while um, Indian High Commission also involves in the same with the large group, of people across New Zealand in different cities, and also private yoga centers, yoga schools, or yoga studios also do organize classes. Um, it's we can say it's organized by a number of people across New Zealand, but I'll say it's not in a large group, maybe due to population, but it's been there. It's working well. It's allowing people to get to know about yoga. It's allowing people to experience yoga. It also allows people to come and observe, practice various aspects of yoga, because quite a number of people, um, different yoga teachers, different styles of yoga are taught across. Uh, like when I teach, so if I'm teaching a asana class, number of people will be teaching meditation, pranayama practices, or restorative asanas as well, to uh, increase their understanding how things work.
That's really nice to know, sir. So, could you mention that how the youth in today's time is getting benefited with the deeper benefits of yoga, especially in a country like New Zealand? How is it gaining a momentum in these days?
So for if you look at the stats from yoga in New Zealand, so Sports New Zealand is one of the primary body which do surveys. They do research work for the country. They do ask people, and what they found since 2017, or let's say for last 8 years, um, the participation, if was like in stagnant until COVID, and when the COVID hit, in between, people started looking at the alternative practices they can do at home. So yoga was one of the factors that surely made a big difference in for kids, and especially the modern age where we live. Young people have different needs, and adapting it, we need to remove or reduce the amount of screen time for them. So yeah, that all those type of surveys or research work is done by Sport New Zealand, and they call it Active New Zealand Survey. So they looked at people participating in various physical activities, for that matter. They also look at uh, how many other activities people perform. And in last 10 years or so, since I've been in New Zealand, I've seen yoga being in top 20 to top, sometimes it even reached to top 10 physical activities preferred by New Zealanders to do. So
That's
yeah,
really
it's
nice.
it's yes, it's a good thing slowly, because yoga is still gaining popularity in
Yes.
places like New Zealand. So yeah.
That's really nice to hear, sir. So, as you mentioned about this active New Zealand survey, is how has it been conducted? Just out of curiosity.
Oh yeah, yeah. So Active New Zealand is Sports New Zealand's initiative.
Okay,
They send emails to people. Um, it's a systematic um, work done by, so every institute, every organization, every sport club, they have their members, and they also ask the people as general public how active they are during a week, how many hours of physical activity they do, what type of physical activities they do.
that's really nice.
uh, they are conducted online, because they send email, and obviously doing so in 2015 or 2016 when they did it, I think around 34,000 people um, participated in the survey, looking at the population which was less than 5 million back then. So it's a
Right.
decent amount of people, representing.
I think this presentation, the statistical data is from Active New Zealand Service, right?
Yes, yes. So
Wow, that's really
as
nice.
you know, I do a lot of research work when I teach. So I look at data, I look at retrospectively, I look at analytically, and I also look at different ways of understanding things. So if you look at since 2016, when the first yoga uh, International Day of Yoga was organized, you'll see that for next 3-4 years, since until 2019, the participation didn't change. So it's no effect, if you say, in that sense. But since the COVID hit, people
Right.
started realizing they got to do more physical activity. If they are staying at home, they got to do activities that they can perform within that limited space. So yeah.
Right, sir. So I think that really generated the concern at that period of time because people were really worried that they're not able to move out and health benefits specifically supposed to be taken care of. So yoga came
Yes, yes,
into
yes.
light a lot of important factors that were treated at that time. Thank you, sir, for giving that insight. Moving on next, I would like to ask the same perspective of how yoga has been transformatively changing the views in India. So, Sir Mandeep, would you like to just inform us that how the youth has been inspired today? As it was Yoga Day yesterday, I could see a lot of people across. In the morning, everybody was out, and there were quite enthusiastic teams and groups of people who have been participating to celebrate yoga. So it's quite an event. It's quite a celebration today. So can you please highlight what is its importance in India today? So it's a you're not audible.
If we say now yoga is a festival in India which is combinedly celebrated by all the community of India. If we look at the how yoga develops or the develop the core values of in our young generation. If we look at the back of our ancient textbook Ved, I will like to quote one of the statement of the Ved says Manubhava. It means the first purpose of a human being is to become a man or to become a human. For this, we need our great sages gave us a practical approach how to achieve this or how to develop this core values in ourselves. So, if we look at the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Maharishi Patanjali has given us 8 limbs. We do not need to practice anything. We just to practice 8 step or 8 actions in our lives to develop a core values in ourselves. If you look at this scenario in current generation, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Divaji, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Please continue.
International Yoga Day is a great platform to convey a message to our generation. If we look at the theme of this current Yoga International Day, one earth, one health. It means we all are a family. हम सभी एक फैमिली है, और इस फैमिली के लिए हमें क्या क्या करने हैं, क्या क्या प्रैक्टिसेस करनी है इस मंच के माध्यम से, क्या और करंट जनरेशन में हमें क्या क्या इश्यूज फेस करने पड़ रहे हैं. इफ यू लुक एट दी करंट सिनेरियो, मेटलिस्टिक अप्रोच बहुत ज्यादा इंक्रीज हो गई, या उनको कैसे हम अपने माइंड के थ्रू कैसे उनको कंट्रोल किया जाए. तो इनकी प्रैक्टिसेस के थ्रू हम ये मैसेज कन्वे करके अपनी यंग जनरेशन में ये मैसेज दे देंगे कि इसके थ्रू वो उनको प्रैक्टिस करके अपने अंदर की जो कोर वैल्यूज उनको डेवलप कर सके.
I think that is really important also, sir, in today's time because this message is actually reaching to the youth. With the more participation and the kind of event celebrations that we have, it is more participatory and more people are coming forward. Yoga has usually been considered for old people, but today we are actually seeing the youth coming in front. It's just not in India, of course. I'll be specifically mentioning about even New Zealand. So all the dimensions across the world, we have many of the countries participating in this and further been enhancing of the overall role of yoga as a practice.
Yes.
So as we discuss about yoga, as you both have shared the perspective to India and New Zealand, there are certain myths that have been associated with yoga. It's always been considered that it is for the people who are old, and specifically, it is quite boring. So, like, what is your perception over this? Do you feel that, Sir Tilak, will begin with you?
Uh, well, it's the perspective of yoga because the thing is, when you look at India, um, for us, yoga is not related to asana only. It's also meditation, pranayama. So a lot of youth or the younger generation, they look at things only that because that's visible to them. You know, someone sitting quietly and not having anything tangible to it or a practice that they can do. They can feel their muscles. So where in the Western culture, or let's say outside India, majority of the countries, what they do not have the exposure to the other aspect of it, not as much as asanas, so they have a lot of exposure to asanas. They look at a lot of various styles and practices of yoga because it's more asana based practice. So whenever we talk about in Eastern side, we talk about yoga as a holistic approach, where in West we talk about more asana. So there is in India, it's there is a distance because they look at meditation and pranayama. But believe me, once you start doing it, once you start going to a class, you will understand it's beyond, it's more than looking, boring or a simple slow stuff. And
Right. That's
yeah.
because the transformative change we see in us possibly brings out quite it evidently visible. So, Mandeep, how do you think, and what are the myths associated with yoga, and especially that it has been quite been considered as slow or old for the old people only?
Actually, people don't know what is yoga. They think asana is already yoga. If you are a human being, you are doing yoga. There are 8 limbs of yoga. If you are practicing truth, you are doing yoga. If you are taking breath, you are doing yoga. But what we need to do, we need to do this thing consciously. They think yoga for a old person. If we read our ancient text in Hatyopadipika or Gita, yoga is for all. If you are a healthy person, you can do yoga to transform yourself. If you are a patient, you can use yoga to cure yourself. If you are a student, you can practice yoga to improve your numbers, or you can You can take help yoga to make your future also. So they are, if you I will give you one example. uh, to break this myth, yoga is boring or interesting, it totally depends on you how you use this. लाइक इफ हम जैसे वाटर वाटर थ्रू हम इलेक्ट्रिसिटी भी डेवलप कर सकते हैं, वाटर थ्रू हम पानी पी भी सकते हैं, इनटेक भी कर सकते हैं। पर जनरली इसका मिथ क्या गया, ये इट इज रिलेटेड टू आपका स्पिरिचुअल एनहेंसमेंट या स्पिरिचुअल रिफॉर्मेशन के लिए यूज किया जाता है योगा के। पर योगा फॉर ऑल है, ये सबके लिए, हर एज के लिए यूज किया जा सकता है। अदरवाइज स्पेशली ये जेंडर बेस्ड भी नहीं है, हर कोई इससे अपने हिसाब से अपने अकॉर्डिंग से इसके बेनिफिट ले सकता है। इसमें देयर आर मेनी फॉर्म्स इन योगा। इफ यू आर डूइंग, if you are old age person, you can do simply joints movement. If you are a young person, you can practice many more forms of yoga like ashtanga yoga, there are kundalini yoga. If you want to work on your mind, you can do just meditation. If you want to regulate your breathing, you can do pranayama. There are many experts of yoga, you can choose or you can opt any practices which you uh, want to do practice in your daily life, or you want to change in yourself. Basically yoga is a holistic approach.
So, as we talk about the holistic approach, it has been quite seen that specifically it's more common just among the old people. So, do you think that it is advisable for the youth, and what is the respective age that the children should begin and start practicing yoga?
If we talk about the asanas, if a children is about to 8 years old, he can start the yoga asana with the age of 8. Gradually after, he can practice pranayama breathing, and then later on he do meditation also.
Okay, right.
So I have a different
Yes.
perspective on it,
Yeah.
Divya.
Yes, sir. Sure, please.
When we call it, yes, it's the when you look at the physical practice, yes, we do say 8 years, 7, 8 years, but that is for certain practices. Um, but when you were in mother's womb, you were upside down for a while. That is Shasana to start with.
That's really wise to mention, sir. Yes, of course. So we are just starting at a
No?
very
So
early
yes,
age,
yes. So
and our
yoga,
existence is a
yoga
universal sin.
becomes,
Then
yes. So if you look at that way, so योग हमारे जीवन का हिस्सा नहीं है, हम योग के हिस्से हैं। अगर योग नहीं है, क्योंकि हमारा जो जीवन जिस जिस समय हमने उस भ्रूण के रूप में दर्शन किए या अवतरित हुए, उसी समय से हम योग की स्थिति में थे, और हमारी ब्रीदिंग प्रैक्टिस और हमारी सांस लेने की क्षमता उस समय बहुत अधिक थी। जब हमारे
correct,
अंदर दिमाग आने लगा, जब हमारे अंदर और समझ आने लगी, तब हमने उन चीजों को छोड़कर अपना जो पाथ है, अपना जो दर्शन है, वो कहीं और कर लिया था। So it's
really
all
nice.
about looking at how you see. Like 6 years, my son, who is 5, has been practicing yoga. I don't teach him,
Mm,
but what he does is whatever book is there, he watches any of the asana and he'll practice it. It has to come within. It's part of our own journey. Until 14, I did not know there is a thing called yoga, because it was not something that I
mm,
had to do separately.
mm.
You know, it's now it's in the current scenario where people, where a lot of young ones, like we were talking about, the youth, they have access to social media, so a 14-year-old can't touch their toes. Okay. Uh, and an incident I had when 13-year-old came to my class and referring himself as I'm old, and while my other class members were 60 plus. So they looked at each other like, okay, so can you tell us how old are you? And then he goes, I'm 13. So the sense of entitlement at times, it starts coming and making you unaware that how many things you're missing in life.
Correct. So
So yeah.
possibly it's all about a mindset that how do we set our mind, of course. Yes, but usually what happens is people correlate yoga just with the physical postures and the exercise, and they do not believe that it's the idea of the mind as well. It's the idea of breathing as well, which is supposed to be associated with, and a lot goes to the awareness that needs to be spread around. And of course, in today's time, social media is playing quite an important role. So, do you feel that social media in today's time has helped the younger people to bring in light the idea of yoga, as its origination has been in India? So, how is the West relating to this concept, and how is social media helping in this regard?
Okay, so there are always pros and cons of both. So when you look at the social media, and when you look at how you use it, you can use it for yourself, you can use it for um, popularity, you can use it and become as an influencer. You want to like, nowadays social media is there for everything. What I would say is that yes, it gave you exposure, but it also um, it's difficult at times to understand. When someone looks at an Instagram reel of someone doing something, a fancy posture, um, a pretzel, it's like or doing Paschimottanasana. What they see is that, oh yes, this person is doing is can touch the toe, they can bring the forehead onto the knee, do whatever they like. However, they don't understand the negative effect of it, because there are a number of people, those who will look at it and say, oh, I can't do this in my whole life. I'm not flexible, so I shouldn't be doing yoga. And that's where, the boundary between self-awareness and self-resilience, that's what yoga brings from the beginning. And that's the social message which is missing from um, the social media nowadays. So Instagram, yes, it is doing it, it helps um, making people aware of it, but it doesn't tell you that the person who is touching their forehead on their knee or touching their toes with their hands been practicing for 10, 15, or 20 years. So we got to look at that way as well.
So social media, as it is quite a hype these days, many of the channel subscription or whatever it has been showcasted on the screen is also not very right. So many of the times, many of the people have been teaching in a very wrong and a very ineffective way. So how is that can be streamlined? What are some of those reliable things that we can be referring to?
So if you look at that way, you want people to understand the difference between the asana aspect. You know, you want people to understand, and it's not the you know in India we call it, right? अगर 5 अंधों ने हाथी को हाथ लगाया, they'll all see different things, they will all be looking at different aspect, और उनके लिए वही सत्य है. तो जब वो किसी ने योग का एक ही हिस्सा देखा है, तो जैसे मनदीप जी ने पहले बात की कि अष्टांग और 8 जो योग के हिस्से हैं, उन 8 हिस्सों में अगर एक ने सिर्फ आसन ही देखे हैं, तो उसके लिए आसन ही सत्य है. और हम योग को एक एक्सक्लूसिविटी ना करके एक होलिस्टिक, जैसे पहले भी मैंने बात की थी और मनदीप ने भी कहा कि होलिस्टिक अप्रोच की बात करते हैं, तो उसमें उन सब चीजों का समावेश होना जरूरी है. पर हाँ, जो आसन है वो आपको एक टेंजिबिलिटी देते हैं, आपको एक कॉन्फिडेंस देते हैं कि मैं ये कर सकता हूं, मैं धीरे धीरे शुरुआत कर कर और उस स्तर तक पहुंच सकता हूं, और बाद में उसको धीरे धीरे इंट्रोड्यूस करें, उसको अदर और जो बाकी हिस्से हैं योग के, उसको साथ में लेकर आए. ये जो हिस्सा है, ये जो सोशल मीडिया है वो आपको नहीं दिखाती.
Rightly said, sir. And that is the problem, which because of which the only the one perspective and the one side of obviously it's half a knowledge is always a waste. So it's disastrous as well. So when we talk about yoga and instructions to the instructors, it is very important that specifically various social media channels becomes a reason and a way to guide us in the right way, rather than basically spread a wrong message, which possibly many of the times it happens.
Yes, that's true. In New Zealand here, we call it an organization called ACC, which is called Accidental Compensation Corporation, which gives, if you get injured during your work or any particular activity, they compensate your hours, and they will pay you the salary. So every
Oh.
institution, every organization, we pay a levy or kind of like a insurance money towards that. So when I register my business as a TI Yoga, uh, you know, TI Yoga Limited in New Zealand, I also have to pay that levy. So if anyone gets injured, they get compensated by that organization rather than me being liable to it. So what they do, they collect information across the year. They collect uh, who was doing yoga, how got injured doing what type of activity, you know, and we look at those numbers every year to see how yoga is doing compared to other activities. And apparently yoga is helping rather than, making people injured. But um, what happens at the same time, a lot of people, those who are going there, they get injured looking at social media. They're trying to imitate what is there. And when I teach, I say look beyond the asana,
Hmm.
look beyond the posture. It is not what you
That,
see. you know it is a lot
that
of
is
other things going in. Yeah,
yes,
it's
sir. That's really powerful to mention, sir, because all the more again, as we say that yoga is not just about the postures, it's all about mindset as well. That's
yes.
really, really powerful to mention.
Yeah. So yeah, we
Right, sir.
all
Thank
look at practice that way. Yes. And
yeah,
we got to promote our way of understanding the asana. So that's what something that doesn't happen quite easily. So, yes.
right. Thank you so much, sir Tilak, for your views. Moving ahead to Mandeep, sir. Sir, our Instagram and YouTube are basically making yoga win more accessible today, and we can see the spark in the children, especially, and schools, of course. So, how is it trending in India? Like as sir discussed about New Zealand, that there's a survey been also been conducted, and apart from it, that then a compensation is also been provided to the accidental cases. Yes, of course, it's not a quite a scene in India, but yes, of course, that how are the youth been using the social media in India with contrast to the other countries?
अगर हम बात करें इसकी आज के समय यूट्यूब वगैरह की, तो इससे जो भी है हमारे फिंगर टिप्स पे सारी चीज़ें इजीली अवेलेबल है। अब यहाँ पर हम ये रिसेंटली आपने देखा ये बहुत ज़्यादा ट्रेंड भी इस वजह से हुआ है कि इंटरनेशनल युवा डे पे आपने देखा सब लोग पोस्ट वगैरह यूज़ कर रहे हैं। कहीं ना वो इस चीज़ को लेके अवेयरनेस भी उनके अंदर डेवलप की हाँ हेल्थ नाम की कोई चीज़ एग्जिस्ट करती है। बिफोर दैट मतलब सोशल मीडिया से पहले उन चीज़ों से इतने अवेयरनेस इतना अपने मैसेज को कन्वे नहीं कर पाते थे। विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस इंस्टाग्राम और यूट्यूब आपके पास
Mm.
एक मैसेज कन्वे करने का बहुत अच्छा मीडियम है। बट यहाँ पर डिपेंड करता है क्या आप उसको एज ए ग्रांटेड ले रहे हैं या उसके मीडियम से उस नॉलेज को लेके किसी के अंडर सुपरविजन में जाके उस चीज को सीख रहे हैं। और जैसे आप बात की जैसे उन्होंने डॉक्टर तिलक सर ने बताया न्यूजीलैंड में हर चीज के लिए प्रोविजंस वगैरह है। अगर हम इंडिया के उसमें देखे जाए तो देयर इज नो प्रोविजन जो हमें इस चीज का कोई कंपनसेट वगैरह दे। इसलिए हमने रिसेंटली देखा भी होगा विद मतलब योगा डजंट क्रिएट एनी प्रॉब्लम मतलब योगा से कोई एज कोई इशू क्रिएट नहीं होता। बट रॉन्ग प्रैक्टिस कैन क्रिएट मैनी मोर प्रॉब्लम इन आवर यूथ। और रिसेंटली ऐसा देखा भी गया है कि हर चीज के लिए हर नॉलेज के लिए एक्सपर्टीज होता है। उसके आप सुपरविजन में चीजें सीख सकते हो। पर क्या एक ट्रेंडिंग में होने के उससे या लोगों में अपने आप अंदर एक फेमस होने के उस पर्पज से लोगों ने उसको एज ए टूल यूज करके कहने के इसके नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट भी सोसाइटी के ऊपर आए हैं। और ऐसा भी दिखा है इसके एक बहुत अच्छे बेनिफिट्स और बहुत अच्छे इम्पैक्ट भी देखने को मिले कि एटलीस्ट लोग अवेयर होके जैसे अब छोटे छोटे शॉर्ट्स वगैरह आते हैं, तो बच्चे उन शॉर्ट्स वगैरह को देख के वो एटलीस्ट दे आर ट्राइंग टू डू योगा। उन्हें पता है योगा नाम की चीजें हैं, इन फ्यूचर हो सकता है दे विल मेक ए कैरियर इन द प्रोफेशन ऑफ द योगा। पर हर चीज के अपने बेनिफिट्स भी होते हैं और वो भी होते हैं। तो ये टोटली डिपेंड्स ऑन
Correct, sir.
आप उनको यूज करते हैं।
Beautiful. Very nicely mentioned, sir. And it is really noteworthy to mention that specifically people have used it, started using it as a tool to get promoted and get more social media likes and to get popularized. But yes, of course, it's something as a practice needs to be promoted rather than just to become a social media hype. Because all the more it is more into a lifestyle change, because now we are being more work oriented, we are more basically having a study pressure or basically lifestyle pressure. So now it is the role of the social media here to help us guide through the this enrichment to know more about it. That's really nice to mention. And talking about as Sarmandi mentioned about Instagram and YouTube being a hype in today's time. Talking about it, sir, Tilak, could you please mention some digital tools? Like how are we using apps, applications, the VRs, technology, or specifically aqua yoga is being quite in trend these days. So how are we using the digitalized world or a transformative world in terms of yoga?
It's a bit, for me, my view on this is a bit restricted, or I'll say I keep things to uh, my view is you use it technology when it is necessary to use, otherwise avoid. Okay, don't depend on it, because the awareness you want is the mind and body. I do teach online. I teach in various countries. My students can connect with me through that, you know help of social media or digital information, but I still try to make sure that the information is simple. If I have to provide something, if you look at the information I put on my YouTube, you know it's more of like simplest stuff people are able to understand. If you have any issue, any questions, you do ask that type of things, and you can do that by use of social media rather than as a tool to engage. Like Mr. Mandeep said, people are using as an influencer, and people also use it to just get likes and do, what do you call that, do what they could do. A lot of interdisciplinary differences, or collaboration is there. A lot of gymnasts nowadays teach yoga, which is a physical aspect of it, and according to them, um, it is more of like, okay, yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do. We are
That's really
flexible, we can show things, but using it as a tool to improve people's life, you know if you type yoga on YouTube, you'll have hundreds of content there. You don't know what to do, from where to start. Find something
correct.
that is the easiest way to understand. When I teach, I start with three simple, you know, um, instructions. Like, let's say, three things are simple to understand or to remember. Push your heels, roll your buttocks, inhale, and lift your spine. You reinforce that learning throughout the session. So when they go home, when they go back to their desk, when they go back driving, you know, or someone asks me about, I sit on the desk quite a lot. What should I do? So, so that's what I do. Make it simple, small enough, but informative enough. Sometimes we just, if I'm in the park somewhere, I'll record a video for someone. So if one person can get benefit from it, it's good enough. It has solved the purpose, and that's how you use
Yeah.
Instagram, YouTube. You want to make it accessible to people, not because You want likes, you want, because now it has become a trend. You put everything there. That's why I said my views are restricted. I put it information. If one person can get me benefit, that's good enough, because that one person will be keep doing it. That one person tomorrow will become two. Someone asks questions, so that's what I look at. So if you want to use it, Instagram, YouTube, you want to make trendy, keep it simple.
Really
It's,
nice to mention, sir. I think that that's really important because the right message needs to reach across the youth, especially because they have been accessing it as if it's a kind of a bible for them, that yes, of course, whatever is given to us is factual and it is correct and it's true, and we're going to follow everything that is coming in front of us. So
right.
we as gurus in the particular field are the ones to guide, and yes, that is why the session has been arranged, so that two continents across, that we have been actually seeing two dimensions of how India and New Zealand is basically been promoting that the right channel and the right way for the social media to be coming into the picture is through the right intellectual minds. So, as the more in cooperation way on social media is a kind of a depiction that has been shown on the screen. So, could you please highlight a little bit about this?
Yeah, this is what. So because my teaching, or why I say my teaching, because I spent around 7 years researching about how yoga helps individuals, how um, people practice yoga. Not only that, how it is helpful for athletes. So I looked at the world class athletes, top class rugby players. I worked with the one of the best rugby club in the world, Crusaders Academy. So they have academy where we train athletes. I worked with the New Zealand women's cricket team for a short while, and it's all because the research work we did. And I have seen so many people coming back in my regular yoga classes. They have this. You see these images there? No, you looked at those pictures. People come and look at those images and say, "Oh, are we going to do this?" And it is so difficult for them even to stand straight. They can't even stand on their own feet. They don't have any connection to their own body, and they want to know how to do some of these, and they got injured in the past. And then you bring them back to reality and say, this is not yoga, this is show off. That's what I call it, because it's for yogis. It's yogis in the sense, if I was meant to be yogi, I'll be from the very beginning. What we do, yoga, uh, Mandeep ji mentioned, even in Bhagavad Gita, it says, when Krishna ji talks about, it says, yoga samattva uchyate, in a state of an equal mindedness. you know when you have the samatva bhav, जब samatva भाव है, तो आप एक एक मनोस्थिति में रहते हैं. वो योग सिखाता है आपको. आप अच्छा है, बुरा है, ठंडा है, गर्म है, खुश है, दुख है, आपका जो मन है, आपका चित्त जो है, वो एक ही स्थिति में है. वो योग है.
That's beautiful. It's really beautiful to mention, sir. How that's really an honor that we have some wise wisdoms coming from both of you. As we proceed further, sir, could you a little highlight on like if most of the common problem that people usually face. Can you depict some kind of a asana for the people, especially for those who have been actually using more amount of screen time, or they're actually more on the laptops, or is usually mostly on cell phones? Any asana which is possibly easy for them to be practicing?
Is it for me or Mandeep?
Sir, you, Tilak, sir.
Oh, okay. So what I do, I usually look at few things before I even ask them to do anything. You know, uh, I'll ask them, like, if I ask you the question, you're watching, you those who are watching on YouTube, are you sitting on your bed with your long legs, couch, slumping into it, or slumping into the bed, or you're sitting on the chair where your legs are hanging? If all those things happening, if your legs are hanging, you're in your couch slouching, you won't be getting any benefit whatever you do, because when your legs are constantly hanging, it's a lower back load. And once it comes the lower back load, you can't do anything. So first thing first is, when you sit down, you want your feet to be planted on the floor. Okay, some
Right,
people
sir.
have short legs, to place a block, you know. And there was an incident. I was teaching somewhere in India, and I said, take the book, place it under your feet, and they go like, oh, but this is for knowledge. I was like, yeah, the knowledge can also come when your feet not hanging in the in the air. So that book is giving you knowledge that your feet needs to be on the floor. So you bring an understanding of the knowledge can come from various ways, not only by reading, but that book is there to give you knowledge that your feet shouldn't hang. The other thing is, we call it the modern problem is the chicken neck. How to correct this. So that happens because the constant load on your trapezius, or the back of your neck. So the muscle, which is like a trap, this is the shape like a diamond, goes across your neck and then goes into your shoulder and then goes to your middle back. The constant load for your neck, when you have to 45-degree, it's the highest load on your muscles on the back of your neck or traps. And then you start getting this smaller or shorter you know from here. So you go here. So what you want to do is you want to roll. So if you I have a simple video on my channel, which is Tia Yoga, and it is about correcting the neck or chicken neck. There was someone asked me a question and said we are having very like a lot of pain, so I had to go. I was on a holiday somewhere and I had to record that. If you would like to play for them, it's
Yes, sir. I would like to share with the audience sir's yoga practice on how to correct the forward chicken head position.
just to let you know, it's not like professionally done. I had time, I just did it, and then we recorded. Namaste. Today we'll be doing the chicken head, how to fix that problem. Usually it happens because sitting in front of computers for a long time, the neck becomes this way and your shoulder starts rolling forward. So today, how we can fix that? If you're looking at working on computer for a long time, so your neck becomes further forward, which one we call a chicken head or extended neck forward. To retrieve this back, to do this properly, you need to take your hands beside. You're going to roll the shoulders to lift the chest up, and then you bring the chin backward. Can you see how much difference it makes from the forward extended neck to backward? When you're doing that, you can sit on the chair, take the hands to the side, and you can extend and roll the shoulders, move forward and then back. When you do again, you do 2-3 times and then stay longer, then you move forward again. Keep extending the arms, moving the chin back, taking the neck in the natural position. Furthermore, you can take a strap or anything which you have to hold it behind, so you do not extend your arms away from you, like keeping it in the line, not opening away from it, holding it beside your body, and you can bend the elbow. If you look from the sides, you can bend the elbow and roll the shoulders further backward, moving the neck back. Stay in this position for a few seconds. Relax. You see how my shoulders goes back? So you extend them back again and bring the chin neck back to the center. That's how we do the positions. It will take a bit longer for you to fix. Thank you. Namaste.
That was beautiful, sir. I think it is going to be really helpful for everybody who's been watching this today, and your little bit insights on you on this, sir.
Yes. Thank you. Like I said, someone asked me the question, and I was somewhere. I record a video. It's not a great one, so that's why you don't see likes and subscribe me, please, and all that thing there, because it's for a purpose. It's not for likes. It's not for. It's for people, those who can do simple stuff, and it will help them to grow. It's like giving them a taste that it will help you if you have trust in it, if you
So
would
do you have
like
to?
to. Yeah.
Would I share it again if you want to just mention few parts of it?
Yes, yes, you can do that.
Okay,
So I
I'll
think
just
some
do that.
places it was not audible. uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, so
I'll just do needful things.
Namaste. Today we'll be doing the chicken head, how to fix that problem. Usually it happens because sitting in front of computers for a long time, the neck becomes this way. And so that's where I was referring to, the neck muscles and the trapezius starts getting tight, or you start having constant load. So you start getting those issues. You won't even realize at times that that is happening. Or extended neck forward. To retrieve this back, to do this properly, you need to take your hands beside. You're going to roll the shoulders to lift the chest up, and then you bring the chin backward. Can you see how much difference it makes from the forward extended neck to backward? When you're doing that, you can sit on the chair. So that this movement is for your, back of the neck and your traps. While you move your shoulders back, it allows your pec, or we call it pectoral muscles, pec major and minor. They also start getting tight because you're leaning forward. So you want to get the chest open. So pec major and minor also get some stretched, and at the same time, your shoulder also allows you to roll back. So creating that, releasing that tension. You can take a strap. So the strap helps you to create some resistance. To hold it behind, so you do not extend your arms away from you, like keeping it in this line, not opening. So when you're keeping the hands beside, you want to keep it beside you. So what you'll do, you create a better resistance from the strap placing against your buttocks and elbows coming back. So this is what the simplest exercise you can do. If you spend a lot of time on screen, unknowingly or knowingly, you find your neck is constantly in front, you can make sure, or you can do this a couple of times during the day, and that should help you. That's how we do the positions. It will take a bit longer for you to fix. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you, Divya, for showing that again.
Thank you so
So
much, sir. So I think it's really important. Anybody, possibly been most of the people who are on screen for the maximum hours in a day, especially with the work life to maintain a work life balance. It's important for a small yoga asana practice that specifically can help us through sail through the day. So even people sitting and watching the session right now can try and practice this thing, and possibly you will see a drastic and effective change. And sir is there, so you can raise your questions. The very
yes,
fitted
yes,
moment to ask much better that how it is going to be.
because that what happens, you can I can show you simply. If you look at my shoulders, if if you can, yeah, see this lines, see this line. So that's how we usually sit. Let's say I go here, and what happens? These muscles, I'll drop it a bit. So you see these muscles from your pec major, pec minor, they start getting short. When they are tight, no matter how much you will do, the load comes to your shoulders. And when the shoulder they come, you're here, right? So what we want to do is we are getting rid of that movement, of that tightness. And tight does not mean it is strong. Okay. And what happens? They become tight, they become weak. So what you want to do is just observe by how to remove this crease for me. So if I'm going to go and I remove this, what happens suddenly? See, so what we are looking for is, if you're spending time here 2 hours, 3 hours, spending 5 minutes or couple of minutes back here, you see the anatomy changes, the muscles change, the stretch is changed. And when this happens, I can bring my neck back further. So that's, we don't realize we sit like that. So you move back, you roll this, and you see suddenly there is no crease. This is the direction of your muscle fiber, because muscle fiber of your pec major minor, they run like that. They don't run this way. Okay, so they run, it's like a fan. It's like fan muscles. So they muscle go and go in here. They do the attachment to your shoulders. And if you keep constantly doing this, they become tight. They become short. So we want to get that. The other thing you can do is you bring the hands beside you, and you want to turn your elbow. So you turn your elbow like that. So your shoulder goes backward. The other reason of getting this computer work is, younger ones. I have 25-year-old who complaining about frozen shoulder because you constantly hear. Think about it. Open it. Open the side. Open the chest. So just roll the elbow. So if I was here to show you, not here, but you bring it beside you and then do it. Okay. So these are simple things you can do, for especially for those computer people sitting, hanging the head whole day there. Yeah. I
So
hope
this
that helps.
it is really helpful, because yes, possibly even I tried it right now. So I think this is very important and noteworthy to mention that people do not know how the posture changes when we are sitting for long hours. So just a small simple asana that we actually possibly did it just sitting on a desk itself, and possibly it's quite brought a change in my body. The fluid body has started to be moving. So thank you so much, sir. And yes, of course, that's really important for us to know how things change over the period of time. Moving ahead, the same, I would like to ask Mandeep sir. Mandeep sir, your views on this, as how we can see now that the social media has been taking up a toll over this. So, any way in which we possibly talk about the digital technology been taking over in India? How are the youth been getting encouraged to be learning about these techniques? So, are we using some applications to improve the VR technology, or in India, how are we taking? And the most important thing, as you are taking most of the sessions with the government, most of the government organizations and associations, is it most of the sessions are being conducted online, or is it offline? And how open in today's time are people to online and offline sessions? Because as Tilak sir mentioned, that post COVID, things have drastically changed. And yes, we went on online just because of the only reason that everybody wanted a change. So, sir, as you are associated with most of the government organizations, how are the sessions in today's time been taking place?
If we talk about the government session which we have conducted, they are basically offline.
Okay.
पर सो करंट सिनेरियो को देखते हम बात करेंगे तो most of the people do not have time,
Hmm.
or if we are moving towards the globalization or we are moving to the digital, so we need to focus कि हम कैसे लिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज में मास पॉपुलेशन को टारगेट कर सके. The ultimate purpose is people will get benefit from the yoga. If it is possible, they can come. If it doesn't, they will learn the yoga through the online mode also. पर अभी भी जनरली देखा गया है कि जो इफेक्टिव, जो अच्छे रिजल्ट्स आने चाहिए, वो ऑफलाइन में आते हैं. अच्छे अच्छे रिजल्ट्स हैं एज कम्पेयर टू ऑनलाइन. कि ऑनलाइन में आप हर चीज अपने हर मैसेज को कन्वे नहीं कर पाते हो. फिर भी ना करने से कुछ करने से बेहतर अच्छा कि आप कुछ तो एक्चुअली क्या, मूवमेंट इज मेडिसिन फॉर योर बॉडी। आपको करंट सिनेरियो में 21st सेंचुरी में आपने देखा, लेटर और सोनर आप अगर डेस्कटॉप पे काम करते, यू विल गेट डेवलप सम डिसऑर्डर, बेसिकली फिजिकल डिफॉर्मिटीज कहते हैं उनको, जिसमें आपके नेक के इश्यूज, जैसे डॉक्टर तिलक सर ने बताया था, बैक पेन के इश्यूज वो आने हैं ही, आ जाए या कल आए। तो आपका मेन पर्पस होना चाहिए मूवमेंट। अगेन मैं रिपीट करूंगा अपना, मूवमेंट इज मेडिसिन फॉर योर बॉडी। आपको मूवमेंट ही कराना है उसके लिए। तो उसके लिए करना क्या होगा, आपको आपको हर 30 मिनट्स के अंदर अपनी बॉडी को मूव कराना होगा। वो आप कैसे भी करा सकते हो, विद द हेल्प ऑफ द डिजिटल, या अगर ऑफलाइन किसी को बुला सकते हो तो उसके लिए थ्रू भी कर सकते हो आप। क्योंकि आपके मसल्स में दो तरह की मूवमेंट होती है, एक होती है आपकी कॉन्ट्रैक्शन होती है, एक होती है आपका एक्सटेंशन। दोनों मूवमेंट बनना होना जरूरी है। और कंटिन्यूसली जब एक लॉन्ग सिटिंग पोजीशन में आप बैठते तो मसल्स अपनी स्ट्रेंथ और या धीरे धीरे अपने अंदर एक स्टिफनेस डेवलप करना स्टार्ट कर देती है। और उसको कैसे रिमूव किया जाए, उसके लिए सिंपल से टेक्निक, मूवमेंट आप देते रहिए हर 30 मिनट्स या 1 आवर के अंदर अपनी बॉडी को सिंपली मूवमेंट देते रहिए। जैसे आप, हम जितने फोन के यूजेस करते हैं, हमारी नेक, जैसे चिकन नेक की हमने रिसेंटली डॉक्टर तिलक सर ने वीडियो बनाई थी, शेयर की थी, उसमें हमारी मूवमेंट फॉरवर्ड हो जाती है। अब इसका हमें काउंटर करना होगा। काउंटर करने के लिए हमें इसके लिए मूवमेंट या तो अप करना होगा या पीछे स्लाइडली पीछे ले जाना होगा। सेम इन्होंने डॉक्टर तिलक सर ने बताया था हमारे चेस्ट के लिए। हमारे लंग्स की जो कैपेसिटी है वो क्यों डिक्रीज हो गई है कि हम मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम हम आगे तरफ झुके रहते हैं, कॉन्ट्रैक्टेड रहते हैं। सिंपली मूवमेंट से क्या आपके लंग्स का जो एक्सपेंड हो जाता है जो एरिया है ना, तो आपकी ब्रीदिंग पैटर्न शॉर्ट होने के ये वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट रीजन है।
Right, sir. Sir, as we are talking about online sessions, so sir, how do you think that online is getting momentum these days? Is it comfortable to take an online session for yoga? Is it more acceptable, adaptable? Do you think it is wise that yoga sessions online can work?
इट वर्क्स बट इट डिपेंड्स। इफ यू हैव अ सीवियर प्रॉब्लम, देन आप अपने योगा टीचर के सुपरविजन में ही करें, क्योंकि उसमें बहुत सी चीजें ऐसी होती है। ऑनलाइन मोड की अपनी एक, ऑनलाइन मोड के बारे में ये नहीं बोलेंगे कंप्लीटली गलत है, पर उसके भी अपने थोड़े लिमिटेशंस हैं। उस लिमिटेशंस में रह के आप वो हर एक चीज अचीव नहीं कर सकते हैं। अगर आपको बहुत ज्यादा सीवियर इश्यूज हैं तो आप ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म को थोड़ा सा अवॉइड कीजिए। अगर आप हेल्दी है, जनरल फिटनेस के पर्पज से करना चाहते हैं, यू कैन ऑप्ट ऑनलाइन सेशन। वो आपको जनरली हेल्प ही करेगा उसमें टू अचीव योर फिजिकल मेंटल हेल्थ।
Right, sir. So as you mentioned about the 30 minutes movement, so if we are sitting for a very long time and for 30 minutes the movement is not been taking place in the body, obviously the fluids tend to get freezed. So it is very important for us to movement because the contraction part of a body, like the muscles, need to be feeling free. So, sir, can you explain few or any one technique possibly that can help the people, those who are watching right now? Because a lot of questions are being there, and I would be liking to ask those also.
Sure, sure. I will tell you three movements of neck which help to remove all the stiffness from your neck and make it healthy. नेक में बेसिकली तीन तरह की मूवमेंट होती है। इट हार्डली टेक्स 3 to 4 मिनट्स अगर आप उसको करना चाहोगे। बेसिकली सबसे पहले क्या होती है, नेक में आपको क्या करना होगा, एक्सटेंशन और फ्लेक्शन, जिसमें क्या करना है आपको, इनहेल करते नेक को अप करना है सिंपली, एक्सेल करते हुए चिन लो, इनहेल अप, एक्सेल डाउन। इसमें आप रिपीटिशन भी ऐड कर सकते हो, इसमें आप होल्ड भी कर सकते हो। ये तो वन मूवमेंट हुई फॉर नेक की। और सेकंड मूवमेंट क्या होती है, उसकी होती है ट्विस्टिंग नेक को। उसमें ट्विस्ट में कराना क्या, शोल्डर आपके एज इट इज रहेंगे, रिलैक्स रहेंगे, लंबे गहरा सांस भरते हुए एक्सेल करते हुए look at the right side, then center, then left, then center, then right, then center, then left। ये बेसिकली दो आपकी नेक की मूवमेंट हुई। अब बात करते हैं थर्ड मूवमेंट पे आपकी नेक की, वो है आपकी साइड बेंडिंग, जिसको होते हैं लेटरल बेंडिंग। जैसे हमारा फूड हमारे लिए बॉडी के लिए रिक्वायरमेंट होता है, ऐसे ये मूवमेंट आपकी स्पेसिफिक नेक के लिए फूड है। अगर ये मूवमेंट आपके डेली प्रैक्टिस में नहीं है तो ग्रेजुअली एज के साथ आपके नेक में स्टिफनेस डेवलप होती चली जाएगी। अब बात करते हैं आपकी थर्ड कंपोनेंट की, जो आपकी नेसेसरी है, मैंडेटरी, जिसको आप स्किप नहीं कर सकते हैं। करना क्या, राइट ईयर को विद एक्सेल लेफ्ट शोल्डर के पास लेके आना है, देन सेंटर, देन लेफ्ट ईयर को लेफ्ट शोल्डर के पास, सिंपली। ये तीन बेसिक मूवमेंट भी कर सकते हैं, इसमें होल्ड भी कर सकते हैं। ये आपको नेक से रिलेटेड होने वाले जितने भी डिसऑर्डर है उसमें आपको बहुत रिलीफ कराएगी, या तो होने देगी आपको, अगर है तो आपको उसको एक बेटर प्रिवेंशन या आपको उसमें बेटर रिलीफ मिलेगा। और जैसे मैं बोला, आज के जितने हम डिजिटल होते गए, हमारी एजुकेशन प्लस हमारा वर्क कल्चर पूरा कंप्लीटली डेस्कटॉप बेस्ड होके गया है, और हम जनरली फोन के यूज करते हैं। तो आप नोइंगली और अननोइंगली ये मूवमेंट आपकी नेक की होनी ही, आप नेक के साथ एक तरह से बोलते हैं आप उस वायलेंस कर रहे हैं जब आप उसको मूवमेंट नहीं कर रहे हैं। बेसिक तीन मूवमेंट आपके हार्डली हार्डली 3 मिनट से लेंगे, पर ये आपके लाइफ के नेक्स्ट से रिलेटेड जितने भी डिसऑर्डर है या आपकी जो एंटी एजिंग का प्रोसेस है उसको डिले कर देगा। जो आपकी लाइफ इन फ्यूचर जो चलने वाली है, जो आप डेस्कटॉप पे या कॉर्पोरेट ऑफिस में काम करने चाहते हो, वो उसकी जो प्रोडक्टिविटी है वो भी आपकी इंक्रीज कर देगी, आपकी लाइफ बहुत स्मूथली और हेल्दी बना देगी।
I think, sir, something that people are really going to note is the anti-aging process because yes, that's one of the important concerns among the people. So the three steps that sir have shared here, it is actually going to be really beneficial for the people. Very easy and simple steps. Anybody possibly sitting on your desk right now can be practicing this and very effective. So especially the wisdom coming from the yoga gurus themselves is really important for the audience to try and test themselves. All the more it is making your work quite easy because in our day-to-day life we usually forget because we tend to become so much carried away with our work and studies for that matter. So small steps can bring a lot of big difference. Thank you so much, sir. Mandeep sir, it was really wise and really nice to see some small steps that possibly we can do to bring a change. Moving further, ahead of the practices that Sir Tilak and Mandeep has shared, the next we are going to be further discussing about now talking about the international stage. How we are been mixing yoga with fitness. So this is a global fusion, a new technique that has been coming over. And for this, our panelist will be coming further to discuss. Sir Tilak, could you please highlight a little how basically yoga has become a hybrid now? As Mandeep sir was also mentioning about being online and more accessible and more reachable to the people. Right now, we are also communicating the similar way. You've been sitting in the other country, I'm elsewhere. So, how is the global fusion taking up the lead in these days?
So when we talk about fusion, yoga with fitness, you know, you're looking at multiple things, and you're trying to combine things that are scientifically proven, and you're trying to combine a regime or a practice like yoga is not much research done on that. So a lot of work in Western culture or New Zealand, there is a company called Les Mills. Okay, they do a lot of research work. They invest a lot of time and money in designing new programs. Yes, they are copyright work. So if unless you are registered or you are certified instructor from Les Mills, you can only teach their programs provided by them. Okay. While for yoga, as for myself, I'm registered with Yoga New Zealand, which is a governing body. Those will look at your yearly review, what you have done over the year. You got to submit your work. You got to provide evidence that you have been doing professional development for yourself. So even though I'm registered as a level 4, which is the highest qualification, or the level 4 teacher, I'm still required to do some professional development for myself to keep continue on that level. So in order for me to bring this yoga and fitness together, every country has their own rules and regulations. They got their, so when I teach, I got to go on biomechanics classes, I go on loading, I go on recent course on, let's say, doing it yoga for joint health. It's not another yoga teacher teaching. At times we may have to go to scientists, those who've been expert in their field, physical therapy. um, I myself, when I did my research looking at yoga for sports performance, so I had to design programs, test them on athletes, take their data, validate them, rewrite the results, then go back again, look at yoga for health and uh, for yoga for health, especially the cardiovascular health. Like even in cardiovascular health is everywhere. It's a problem. Around 17% of total population worldwide is struggling with cardiovascular disease. In India, we call it heart. Okay, so heart problems. Um, how to combine that research work with the general fitness, or high intensity workout at that point. What I do, I design programs for people, and we look at the, how Mandeep ji said, you have, if you get problems, you can do this. My work is prehabilitation. I don't work on rehabilitation. I try to make people aware that they don't get the problem to start with. So when we design these programs of fusion, when I need it or I use like yoga as a complementary practice, okay, together rather than separate practice. We combine them together. We design programs I design for bodybuilders, weightlifters. I design programs based on yoga for rugby players, hockey players, tennis players, whoever is doing it, or for general public in sense like the chicken head we looked at. So finding this together, it's helping people because scientifically proven information you have already, and you want to add something ancient wisdom with the modern science. You want to have this evidence-based practice. uh, in Western culture, they need evidence, they need science backed system to approach. No matter how good you are, if I can touch my leg on my head, behind head, wrap it 2 hour times, it doesn't matter. What matters is how you're able to transfer that knowledge to people, to individuals. Okay, and that's where the fusion, that's where mixing two regime together is highly recommended. You do science, you read, write, research, look at the research work, and then combine that. So that's what fusion for me is. You want to mix it with fitness, you can do it. Yoga for runners, you want to mix it for your betterment of your mobility. It's not that you have better mobility, you still can be strong. You can lift weights. It's not one or other. I will emphasize, you want to practice together, combine it rather than separating it, and that's what fusion for me is. Yeah, Divya. The other aspect you look at, um, one one thing is that it can be very informative. If you look at, you know if you're practicing some postures, how much scientific information is required for you, that can be a fusion. This, yes. And when you talk about it, when you work on it, you will find that yourself, you're improving. So knowledge about your own body will never go wasted. You're learning, you're getting more and more information, you're getting information about the systems, you're getting information about your own muscles. So if we look at that way, if you can, when I was working, I think a number of times what I do, I use the information for your body. And can you please put that the the posture, the muscular information of any of the program I can share with you guys. Sorry. So what we look at individuals working on, individuals want to achieve certain what you call goals, physical body. They want to look at certain muscles, so I use it as a complementary practice. And there are number of muscles. If you look at this image, You can have the adaptation for athletes, but it does not mean that it only works on athletes. If you work, if you're practicing uh, any posture, there are a number of muscle groups work. Which, and when the muscle will work depending on the position you follow. Okay. Your muscle group required for that particular movement can be addressed accordingly. The structure can be changed, position can be adapted, you can make differences, you can work on all that when you work on it, you know and that's what we look at.
So as you mentioned about muscle stiffness and that how basically our muscles react to the yoga postures that we are usually be doing, can you please highlight a little bit from the picture here?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
Yes, sir. So can you please highlight a little bit about the muscle stiffness or how the muscles really react to the yoga postures that we usually make?
So this is Adho Mukha Svanasana, one of the quite commonly used posture. When you practice yoga, especially in the Western culture or in New Zealand or other Western countries. So Adho Mukha Svanasana, depending on how you look at it, you can work on your joints. So if you start bending the legs, you start using your ankle and knee joint and shoulder joint. But if you are not able to drop your heels down to the floor, you'll be working on your Achilles and calves. If you're able to drop your heels, and if you push your quads, which is front of your thighs to back, which you see in the back of your leg in purple color, that's hamstring. You can, so it's not one muscle, there are 3 4 muscles attached together. And that's where, like I said at the big earlier as well, you focus on your practice, you adapt accordingly when you work on specific muscle groups. And that's what I do. That's why I call it science based, because I look at the information provided, what athlete needed. If they don't need to work on one particular muscle, we will adapt or change the posture accordingly, doing adjustment, so then they can reach the intended outcome. They can continue doing it.
I think the intended outcome is something sir, that we were really looking ahead for, as are being so occupied with our life that small bits that needs to be done to stretch our muscles, or possibly the contractions that we are not been focusing on, and ultimately it is leading to further diseases, which outbursts a lot of other problems interrelated. So something as small steps taking place from the place that you're sitting, from the way you've been walking, is needs to be kept in mind.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you, sir, for sharing insights regarding this complementary practice that is been helping us to talk about the muscle movement. Furthermore, Mandeep, sir, as sir has already beautifully highlighted the importance of the muscle stretch and talking about how we have been promoting the yoga practices among the youth specifically, it is also a regime for fitness in today's time. So, a way to reduce weight or body fit is specifically to follow yoga practice. So, how is this practice being promoted in India with reference to gyms and fitness today that we call that we are supposed to be doing yoga?
If we talk about the current scenario, yoga is more popular in women as compared to male.
Okay.
Uh, Male जितने भी मेल जाते हैं वो मोस्टली प्रेफर करते हैं, जैसे सर ने बताया, दे प्रेफर मोर वेट ट्रेनिंग और जिम. They are not a yoga enthusiast. If we talk about female prefer yoga. If we talk about yoga versus gym, दोनों को लोगों ने बड़ा मिस इंटरप्रेट किया. जैसे सर ने बताया, डॉक्टर तिलक ने, इफ वी एड योगा इन जिम, या हम जिम करने से पहले योगा के कुछ मूवमेंट्स ऐड करते हैं. Yoga is very complementary things for every practice which we are going to do. मेन डिफरेंस बिटवीन योगा एंड जिम क्या है? योगा में ब्रीदिंग पे ज़्यादा अवेयरनेस होती है एज कम्पेयर टू जिम। जिम में भी अवेयरनेस होती है, पर उस लेवल की अवेयरनेस होती है। दे आर मोर फोकस ऑन द बिल्डिंग मसल्स और मूवमेंट्स। योगा क्या होती है, योगा बेसिकली प्रैक्टिस जितनी होती है आपको माइंड ओरिएंटेड होती है, आपके हाउ टू रिड्यूस स्ट्रेस और हाउ टू प्यूरिफाई योर माइंड। जितनी बेसिस प्रैक्टिस होती है योग के, उनका मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव ये होता है। और जिम का क्या होता है, जितने भी आपके बॉडी पार्ट्स है, जितने आपके जॉइंट्स है, जितने आपके मसल्स हैं, उनका मूवमेंट कराना, उनके अंदर स्ट्रेंथ डेवलप करना, उनकी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी को एनहांस करना, या उनकी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी मोबिलिटी को डेवलप करना। अगर हमने यहाँ योग को और जिम को एक साथ कंबाइन कर दिया, उनको अलग ना देखे, तो हमें एक बहुत बेहतर अच्छे रिजल्ट्स मिलेंगे। कि योगा क्या है, एक रिकवरी के लिए भी अच्छा है, और एक आपके स्टार्ट करने के लिए बहुत अच्छा है। एज ए प्री प्रैक्टिस हम करना चाहें उसके लिए, तो योगा जिम को कंप्लीट करता है। मैं ये बोलूँ तो ये गलत नहीं है। जिम भी आपने अपने आप में कंप्लीटली कोई रॉन्ग प्रैक्टिस नहीं है। को बहुत से लोगों के अंदर मिथ है कि जिम से ये चीज होती है, ये चीज होती है। दे डू नॉट नो अबाउट द जिम, दे डू नॉट अबाउट द मूवमेंट्स। पर बेसिक डिफरेंस क्या होता है, थोड़ा बहुत इनमें क्या, योग मोर फोकस अबाउट योर ब्रीदिंग, योर अवेयरनेस पे ज्यादा फोकस करता है। जिम पे उतनी अवेयरनेस है, उस पर इतना फोकस नहीं किया जाता। योग को मैं यूथ को इसलिए प्रेफर करना चाहूंगा, इफ यू प्रैक्टिस योगासन बिफोर द जिम, आपकी जो इंजरी होने के चांसेस है, या जो आपकी मसल्स के वार्म अप होने के चांसेस हैं, इंजरी होने के चांसेस तो आपको मिनिमाइज कर दोगे, 0% पे ले आओगे। प्लस आपके रिकवरी, जैसे सर ने बोला, योगा इज मोर प्रिवेंटिव देन क्यूरेटिव। आपको इंजरी होगी ही नहीं, अगर है तो जो अभी मसल रिलैक्सेशन टेक्निक में भी ये बहुत ज्यादा यूजफुल है। जैसे आफ्टर जिम आप योग निद्रा कर सकते हो। योग निद्रा करने से आपकी जितनी एनर्जी है वो रिगेन हो जाएगी आपकी, और आप फिर और मोर एनर्जेटिक फील करेंगे। तो इनको तो डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव से ना देख के, तो उनको कंबाइन करके हमें अच्छे हेल्थ को अचीव कर सकते हैं।
So as you mentioned about yoga and gym, the fusion that has been really helping. Yoga getting an access to gym is it's addition to what they are actually been doing in the gym already. So any specific thing that people usually have a norm that yoga and gyms are not being correlated or considered together. So in today's time, we have been actually focusing a lot on yoga and gym. So anything specific that you would like to mention with regard to India, that how has it been getting importance?
बेसिकली योगा से क्या होगा, जो भी आप स्टार्टिंग में से ऐड ऑन करोगे, जो भी आपकी, मैंने जैसे पहले मेंशन किया था, ये होलिस्टिक अप्रोच है। ये एक बेटर हेल्थ की तरफ आपको लेके जाएगा उसमें। और जो इश्यूज वगैरह जो लोगों के अंदर है, मिसकंसेप्शन है अबाउट द हेल्थ, या ये बोले जो लेटर ऑन, जो ये जिम का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, फिजिकल मूवमेंट का जो कॉन्सेप्ट आया, कि योग के जो मूवमेंट से जो पोस्चर है, उसका लेटेस्ट वर्जन है, जो वेस्ट ने उसमें काम करके उसको ज्यादा रिसर्च वगैरह से थ्रू ज्यादा उसको पॉपुलर कर दिया गया। अदरवाइज देखा जाए, सेम मूवमेंट्स वो योगा में होते हैं, सेम उसमें होते हैं। जो मसल्स की जो ट्रेनिंग होती है, सेम योगासन में होती है, सेम उसमें होती है। दोनों में डिफरेंस नहीं है। तो डिफरेंस क्या है, जिम में आप बॉडी वेट ट्रेनिंग करते हैं, योगा में बॉडी वेट ट्रेनिंग मतलब बॉडी वेट आप अपना ऑन बॉडी वेट का यूज करते हैं।
Okay. So as both of you have highlighted the importance of yoga in the modern world, and how it has been taking over with digitalization, with gyms, and how specifically muscle movements have been bringing up a drastic change. We have a few other questions that people are actually really prompting in between, and let's take a few of them before we proceed further to the next topic of modernizing yoga. So we have. Very informing session, but I have a question. Can yoga benefit us in the long term? Sir, Mandeep, sir.
यस, जैसे मैंने बोला था, योग क्या है, एंटी एजिंग प्रोसेस है।
Hmm.
हम कोई भी हमें डिसऑर्डर की होते हैं, जो हमारे एजिंग प्रोसेस है वो फास्ट हो जाता है ड्यू टू हमारी बैड हैबिट्स। अब जैसे योगा इज ए वे ऑफ लाइफ। अगर आपको योगा को अडेप्ट करेंगे, आप हमने टॉकिंग अबाउट फिजिकल पोस्चर, ब्रीदिंग प्रैक्टिसेस, या उसकी जो थ्रू आउट जो आपकी लाइफ स्टाइल रूटीन्स है, उसके फूड हैबिट्स वगैरह हैं, या सिंपली आप उसके जो भी योगा पोस्चर्स करके या ब्रीदिंग से क्या होता है, आपके अंदर बॉडी के अंदर ऑक्सीजन की इंटेक ज्यादा हो जाती है। जो बॉडी में इंटेक ज्यादा हो जाती है, तो आपके ब्लड में आपके बेसिकली क्या है, ऑक्सीजन की इंटेक होने से क्या होता है, जो डिजनरेशन का प्रोसेस है वो स्लो हो जाता है। जब डिजनरेशन प्रोसेस स्लो हो जाएगा, तो आपके हेल्थी लाइफ जी पाएंगे उसको बेटर तरीके से।
Very nice, sir. Sir, Tilak sir, your take on this, sir.
Um, my take, it's in line with Mandeep, but I would like to add a few things there. Um, why do we have to look in long term?
Hmm.
Do you know how long you're gonna live?
Hmm.
One of my teacher said once that I can teach you headstand, I can teach you handstand, and you die tomorrow.
Hmm.
What did you achieve in your life?
Beautiful.
जीवन का उद्देश्य, योग जो है आपके लिए एक साधन है समाधि तक पहुंचने का। आप समाधि तक कैसे पहुंचते हैं, कब पहुंचते हैं, ये हमें नहीं पता। तो आप, आज मैंने जो किया मुझे नहीं पता 5 साल बाद 10 साल बाद उसका क्या मिलेगा। पर अगर आप चाहते हैं कि आपकी दिनचर्या pain free, that's what I talk about, talk with people here. I can teach you headstand. Do you walk on headstand whole day? No, right? You don't stay in headstand, you don't stay in shishasana whole day. What do you do that represents your daily life? When you feel upside down in certain situations, how do you control yourself? That's what I was talking about, the emotional intelligence you develop through your practice. You live one day, you live 100 years, it does not matter. Once you have that capability, yoga has given you that ability to control your emotions. You know, yoga chitta vritti nirodha, you know, to reduce the fluctuation of your mind. That's what yoga does, right? And
Very
once you
nice.
have reduced that, you can reach longer. You as long as you practice without thinking about what will happen 10 years down the road or tomorrow. That's what yoga is. Yoga is to be present. Yes, it will benefit you in long term. Yes, it will. What will be the benefit? I don't know. You know what I mean? Because everyone's body is different. If we talk about the physiological effect, yes, we know. How your muscles will develop. Yes, if you don't put resistance, like Mandeep said, you can do body weight training, but if you don't develop resistance in your training, or increasing, adding weight or resistance into it, your question of muscle building will not be addressed. Mobility itself is not strong enough. Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah,
So we'll
long
take one
long
more question. Yeah,
Yes.
we'll take one more question before we proceed to the next topic.
Yeah.
So we have Mr. Jatin here. Over the past 1 year, I have some issues related to the navel displacement. So can you suggest some asanas which I can practice to get relief from this problem? So Tilak, will begin with you, sir.
Okay. So when I look at naval displacement, first thing is why that is happening. Okay. The reason for that. Then you look at what is the age of that individual. What is the lifestyle of that individual. Because these factors, if you can, um, if you can rectify them, if you can address them, then it is easier for you. If you say asana, simply you can do it. Dhanurasana, Nokasana, Sarpasana, you can do those asanas to address that. But if you want it to stop from happening again and again, you got to look at the reason for that. Okay, it is probably weak lower abdominal muscles, your rectus abdominis. The all muscles also working together. So if you have weaker abdomen, you're gonna have those problems. If you have not trained, you're not practicing properly, you will have those issues. So you want to do all of that, you want to address that, then you go. um, Mandeep can add more onto it,
Yes,
but
sir.
like,
Mandeep sir, we'd like to hear from you as well, sir.
जैसे डॉक्टर तिलक सर ने बताया, यू नीड टू आइडेंटिफाई द रीजन रीजन क्या, व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम जिसके वजह से आपके इशू आ रहे हैं. वंस यू आइडेंटिफाई द प्रॉब्लम, देन यू वर्क ऑन द सॉल्यूशन. आप हम आपको सजेस्ट कर देंगे. जनरली हो क्या रहा है, जनरली योगा में लोग क्या करते हैं, ये इश्यूज है, सोशल मीडिया पर सर्च किया, ये प्रैक्टिस कर लेते हैं. योगा इज वेरी इंडिविजुअल प्रैक्टिस. योगा बहुत इंडिविजुअल प्रैक्टिस है. इट इट इज ऑल अबाउट यूर सेल्फ. आप फर्स्ट यू हैव टू नो यूर सेल्फ. क्या रीजन है फिजिकल लेवल पर, मेंटल लेवल पे, यू हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई, देन वर्क ऑन दैट प्रॉब्लम. आपको पता चला कि आप वेट लिफ्टिंग की वजह से आपको नेवल वो हो रहा है, इश्यूज हो रहे हैं, आप पोस्चर्स कर रहे हैं और वेट लिफ्ट कर रहे हैं, तो उसका कोई सॉल्यूशन नहीं आएगा. यू हैव टू वर्क ऑन बोथ वेज ना. पहले आपको डोंट्स पे काम करना है, देन डूज पे काम करना है. then you will get rid from the all the problem. ये I'm not talking about the uh, naval problem. It is all about the all disorder. चाहे वो मेंटली हो, फिजिकल हो, पहले आपको आइडेंटिफाई करना होगा रीजन क्या है. इसलिए योग का क्या है, योग आपके रूट्स पे काम करता है. किसी भी डिसऑर्डर के वो सरफेस लेवल काम नहीं करता, उसका रूट्स क्या है. इसलिए महर्षि पतंजलि ने कहा योग चित्त वृत्ति निरोध. जितने भी डिसऑर्डर है, दे कम फ्रॉम योर माइंड. सारे माइंड से रिलेटेड है. अब जो आइडेंटिफाई करोगे, वंस यू वर्क ऑन योर रूट्स, देन ये प्रॉब्लम आपको इन फ्यूचर आएगी नहीं. इसलिए हर प्रॉब्लम को सोशल मीडिया से, मैं एक जस्ट चीज ऐड ऑन करूंगा, प्रॉब्लम सोशल मीडिया पे जाने से पहले आपको आइडेंटिफाई करना होगा इस प्रॉब्लम का रीजन क्या है. रीजन क्या है, देन यू, over to you, Divya ma'am.
Yeah, sir, thank you so much. It is really helpful, sir, both of you that have mentioned, and I hope, Jatin sir, as you raised a question, both the panelists have catered to this issue. Few of the compliments sharing up in the session. It's an excellent presentation. Congratulations. Um, we have both the gurus are best in their field, and furthermore, people are mentioning it's going on. It is excellent. So I think many people are able to associate, and it is really going well because the people are really being able to know much better that what are the issues that they have been facing. And it is rightly said as by both the gurus themselves that yes, you need to know the cause first, and of course it begins from the mind, so that is what needs to be treated. Very wisely and very nicely quoted. uh, Pouring in more appreciation, sirs, I'll be showing you furthermore in the session. Till the time, let's proceed further to the next topic, and that's the most closest to us, that is specifically yoga for students. So I think that that's one of the most concerning topic for a parent, because in today's time, as we discuss further, that what should be the age of starting yoga. So I think this is one of the most concerning parameters for parents, because the parents in today's times are very very much curious and concerned about new opportunities to be given to the children. So they want to start really early because they want to teach everything to the children. So how yoga is going to be helping this the students? Tilak sir, over to you, sir. Would you mind mentioning, sir, 10-minute fun activities or interactive school sessions that can help the children gain and access yoga practices much better?
Okay, for students, okay, do Surya Namaskar. Okay, start with it. You have 5 minutes, do 2 rounds. You have 10 minutes, do 5 rounds. Once you're able to understand the sequence of it, once you're able to understand the breathing practice of it, once you're able to understand how, this is what, rather than staying in one posture, if I stay quiet now for 30 seconds, it will become so difficult for you because that silence becomes annoying. For younger generation, youth, those who are especially student, you, like Divya, you mentioned that parents want, kids to learn everything. Then give them 10 minutes, do a couple of rounds of sun salutation, start with it. Increase that, go to 5, go to 10. When you have 10 minutes, do that. I'm not going to ask you to sit quiet for next 5 minutes and wander around, because research shows that if you don't have control over your body, sitting in meditation actually brings negative effect on it. Okay, The ability of your brain to function reduces. You start getting negative emotions and thought, and since you do not know how to control your body, you'll be overwhelmed by the thought and the process happening. Okay, I'm going to emphasize again, sun salutation or Surya Namaskar. Doesn't matter which school you follow, which school, what style you practice, just make sure start with it. Start with the simplest one, Surya Namaskar. Yeah, that's the most fun aspect for people, I'd say. What do you think about it, Mandeep?
Definitely, sir. I totally agree with you. I just add one thing also. No need to control your breath. Just observe your breath. जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनको ब्रेथ के साथ कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं है. जस्ट काउंट डाउन योर ब्रेथ. काउंट्स कीजिए 100 ब्रेथ. 100 ब्रेथ से उनको पूरा काउंट डाउन कर देंगे और उनके एनर्जी को कैसे यूटिलाइज करना का सही दिशा में उसको लगाना. दे विल नो. क्यों? एज ए स्टूडेंट उनका माइंड होता है, माइंड इज लाइक ए मंकी. वंस दे सेटल डाउन देयर माइंड, दे नो व्हाट दे वांट टू डू इन देयर लाइफ. उनको सही जगह पे उनको लगाना आ जाएगा. अदरवाइज दे हैव अ फुल पोटेंशियल, दे हैव अ फुल ऑफ एनर्जी. बस उस एनर्जी को कैसे चैनलाइज किया जाए. जैसे सर ने बताया, विद दी हैव सूर्य नमस्कार आप फिजिकल एक्टिविटीज में इन्वॉल्व हो जाओगे. जहां आप वहीं आप ब्रीदिंग के साथ आप उसे थोड़ा और सेटल कर दोगे उस माइंड को. आप बोथ वेज पे माइंड और सॉरी ब्रीदिंग और फिजिकल लेवल जब काम करोगे तो आप अपने अंदर के छुपे हुए पोटेंशियल को, एवरीवन इज इक्वल, एवरीवन इज यूनिक. कोई कम कोई ज्यादा नहीं, बट पीपल मस्ट नो व्हाट दे हैव पोटेंशियल. वही आपको तभी पता चलेगा. जैसे महर्षि पतंजलि ने कहा, बार बार हम इस स्टेटमेंट को कोट करेंगे, योग का चित्त वृत्ति. आपको फ्लक्चुएशन ऑफ अपने जो माइंड से थॉट्स है उनको फिल्टर करके हटाना होगा. यू हैव टू रिमूव ऑल द अनवांटेड थॉट्स फ्रॉम योर माइंड. अब वो आप कैसे होगा? वंस यू मास्टरी ऑन योर माइंड. अब वो होगा विद द हेल्प ऑफ सूर्य नमस्कार और ब्रीदिंग. इनका कॉम्बिनेशन मिल जाए तो बच्चे बहुत अच्छा इवॉल्व कर जाएंगे. और जनरली मैंने अपने स्कूल में मानव ग्लोबल स्कूल है राजेंद्र नगर में, वहाँ मैंने प्रैक्टिस कराता था बच्चों को. मैंने 2 चीजें एड ऑन की थी, तो उनके रिजल्ट्स में बहुत जबरदस्त चेंजेस देखने को मिले. एक तो क्यों, जितने में आप करंट जनरेशन क्या है जिनको जेन जी बोलते हैं, इनके अंदर फिजिकल एक्टिविटीज जो है वो बहुत कम हो गई है. दे आर मोर क्या गैजेट्स वगैरह यूज वगैरह करते हैं, गेम्स वगैरह, इंडोर एक्टिविटीज पे ज्यादा फोकस करते हैं, आउटडोर एक्टिविटीज पे नहीं. जब सूर्य नमस्कार कर देंगे तो कम्प्लीटली आपका ओवरऑल जितना भी हेड टू टोज, जितने आपके बॉडी के मूवमेंट्स है, जॉइंट्स है, उनके मूवमेंट्स करा देगा. और वहीं और ब्रीथिंग के साथ आपको माइंड को काम कर देगा. तो ये दोनों कंपोजिशन हम मिला के हम उसके बहुत एक अच्छे चेंजेस या उनको इंट्रोड्यूस करके उनके लाइफ में बहुत अच्छे इम्पैक्ट या चेंजेस ला सकते हैं.
Right, sir. So I think both of you have specified one thing is a breathing practice, and the second one you have mentioned is a Surya Namaskar. So I think parents to please note that this is something that can be incorporated in your lifestyle for the children, for the benefits of children. So Tilak, as you mentioned, this quote here that if you don't have a control over your body, meditation has a negative effect. Could you speak a little bit more about it, because this is something really concerning, as most of us are not even aware that meditation means everybody has been so peaceful and calm, and they never anybody has focused on this, that it can be turning negative as well.
So meditation itself doesn't turn negative. The thought process, you know, uh, I'll say indulging in the thought. Okay. So those who are listening to us and watching, when me and Mandeep are keep referring to yoga se chitta vritti nirodha or Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, we also referring to when you read or when you look at Patanjali, the next statement he gives is tada dursta surupayavasthana. The moment you start calming your mind or you start reducing or the fluctuation of your mind starts settling down, then you see yourself. You become the seer. You are the one who's looking at yourself as it is. You're looking at yourself, your true self. But in order for us to reach that, Patanjali also says You got to sit, right? You got to sit quiet. And if you're not able to sit quiet, you're not able to sit uh, keeping your mind and body stable, the thought process will keep generating. You know, it's like if I compare a car, you know, so your body, think about it. If your body is a car, engine is not right, or let's say engine is really good, your car is really good with a nice European car or engine, but one of the tire has less air in it, what will happen? Regardless of how good the car is, it won't drive well. So when it won't drive well, what will happen? You can't blame the car, you can't blame the engine. Think about, in similar manner, your mind and body. You got to bring the body. Body is a vehicle to carry you. So you got to work on it. And once you get your body right, then you start reducing those fluctuations. And that's why I said, if you don't have control over your body, the meditation, you sit, you will be like, oh, my hip is aching. Oh, my back is paining. Oh, my neck is doing this. So mind will start taking you. The thought process is not in eccentric or towards you, it's centric, it's going outward, and we don't want that. And that's what happens. So once you start controlling your body, you start bringing yourself back to the center. What do you think about it, Mandip?
Yes, totally agree. जितनी योगिक
Very
प्रैक्टिसेस
nicely. हाँ जी सर. Yes, Amandeep.
जितनी योगिक प्रैक्टिसेस हैं, ये कभी भी आपके फिजिकल बॉडी पे, फिजिकल बॉडी इज ए टूल टू अचीव योर मेंटल पीस, या हम कह सके हैप्पीनेस स्टेट. तो फिजिकल बॉडी को हमको टूल की तरह यूज करना है, और जब तक इस पे हमारी फिजिकल बॉडी में कमांड नहीं बनेगी, सपोज दैट हमने आसन वगैरह किए और 5 मिनट हम पे कैपेसिटी नहीं है बैठने की सीधा, तो हमारा जो थॉट है, जो हमारा माइंड है, वो तो कभी इनवर्ड जाएगा ही नहीं. वो तो हमारा माइंड हमें उस पेन की तरफ लेके जाएगा जो हमारे फिजिकल बॉडी में है, तो डिस्ट्रैक्टेड होगा और हम अपने माइंड को कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाएंगे. इसलिए फर्स्ट यू हैव टू मास्टर ऑन योर बॉडी. इसलिए महर्षि पतंजलि ने सबसे पहले यम नियम की प्रैक्टिस के बाद आसन का बारे में बताया, देन प्राणायाम, देन ब्रीदिंग प्रैक्टिस, और लेटर ऑन उन्होंने बाद में ध्यान का बताया. जब आपके इनके ऊपर मास्टरी हो जाए, देन यू आर प्रिपेयर फॉर द मेडिटेशन. जितनी प्रैक्टिसेस हैं ये योगासन, फिजिकल हम कर रहे हैं, ये आपको सिर्फ ध्यान के लिए तैयार कर रहे हैं कि एंड ऑफ द डे आपको अपने माइंड को कंट्रोल करना है. यू हैव टू मास्टर ऑन योर माइंड. आपको अपने सेंसेस में कंट्रोल करना है. एक एग्जांपल थ्रू मैं समझाना चाहूंगा कि जितने थॉट्स हमारे यहाँ पे आ रहे हैं, ये हमारे थ्रू आ रहे हैं या अपने आप आ रहे हैं? क्या हम इनके स्लेव हैं या ये हमारे स्लेव हैं? कि हमारा अपने थॉट्स पे अपना कोई कंट्रोल नहीं. और थॉट्स पे कंट्रोल कैसे आएगा? विद द हेल्प ऑफ द फिजिकल बॉडी. फर्स्ट हम अपने फिजिकल बॉडी पे कमांड बनाएंगे. जब फिजिकल बॉडी पे कमांड बनाएंगे तो हमारी जर्नी और सेटल होती जाएगी ब्रीदिंग के साथ. जो ब्रीदिंग पर कमांड बनाए तो हमारी जर्नी और सेटल होती जाएगी सेंसेस के थ्रू, जिसके लिए महर्षि पतंजलि प्रत्याहार, विड्रॉल ऑफ द सेंसेस. हम स्टूडेंट्स या कोई भी पर्सन लाइफ में फोकस क्यों नहीं कर पाता है? कि हमारे अपने सेंसेस पर कोई कंट्रोल नहीं, और सेंसेस को हम डायरेक्ट कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते. इसका एक रूट है, एक पाथ है. जैसे दिल्ली जाने के लिए हमें कार का यूज तो करना ही होगा, ऐसी ब्रीदिंग या हमारे सेंसेस या माइंड तक जाने के लिए सबसे फिजिकल बॉडी, फिर ब्रीदिंग के साथ कैसे बिहेवियर करना है, फिर सेंसेस पे कैसे आपको अपने कंट्रोल करना है, देन लेटर ऑन अब माइंड से क्या आप कैसे बिहेव करते हैं, या लाइफ से क्या चाहते हो, या उस पीस में सबका एंड ऑफ द डे सबका अल्टीमेट गोल क्या है थ्रू आवर लाइफ, या मॉर्निंग उठने से लेकर टिल नाइट, या हमारी लाइफ का पर्पस क्या है, हैप्पीनेस या बोले पीस. उस पीस को अचीव कैसे करेगा, उसका रोड मैप क्या है? उसका रोड मैप यही है कि हमें कैसे उस जर्नी को स्टार्ट कैसे करना है. और इसके बारे में महर्षि पतंजलि द्वारा जो 8 स्टेप्स बताए गए उन्हें प्रैक्टिस करेंगे तो हम उस स्टेट में, उस पीस में जाके हम लाइफ में कुछ भी अचीव कर सकते हैं. एक एग्जांपल थ्रू और समझाना चाहूंगा कि हर कोई लाइफ में सक्सेस होना चाहता है और एफर्ट भी डालते हैं, पर कोई हो नहीं पा रहा. क्यों? रीजन बिहाइंड, चाहते सब कुछ है, मेहनत भी कर रहे हैं, पर रिजल्ट आपके फेवर में नहीं आ रहे. इट मीन्स आपका जो पाथ है, जो आपकी प्रैक्टिस है, जो आप कर रहे हो, कहीं ना कहीं उसमें मिस्टेक है या आप लैक कर रहे हो. एक थॉट ही तो लिया था थॉमस अल्वा एडिशन ने और उस पे अपने 20 साल लगा दिए, उस थॉट से वो डाइवर्ट नहीं हुआ, फ्लेक्सेशन ऑफ माइंड अगेन। वो क्लियर था कि मुझे इस थॉट पे काम करना है। वंस यू आर क्लियर, यू हैव टू डू और यू हैव टू वर्क ऑन योर दैट थॉट। आपको लाइफ में सक्सेस या पीस या हैप्पीनेस की स्टेट को अचीव करने से कोई भी नहीं रोक सकता, और यही अल्टीमेट पर्पस है हर ह्यूमन बींग्स का लाइफ का।
Thank you, sir. They're very nicely mentioned. And talking about the students here, as we are talking about to reducing stress and controlling mind and bringing up a change in the behavior to improve on academics or specifically strengthening your mind and thoughts for that matter. So, can you suggest some of the ways in which we can, with the children especially, can focus and improve their academic growth better? So, some of the ways in which focus and improvement in terms of your learning can become much easier. So, Mandeep.
uh, they can practice tree pose, इट इम्प्रूव देयर फोकस। वंस दे उनका फोकस इंप्रूव हो जाएगा तो उनकी लर्निंग ऑटोमेटिक वो अपने आप डेवलप होती चली जाएगी। इसके अंदर ऐसे पोस्चर्स इंक्लूड कर सकते हैं जिसके अंदर इन्वर्टेड पोस्चर्स होते हैं, जिसमें ब्लड टुवर्ड्स द ब्रेन की तरफ जाए, उसको नोरिश करे। क्यों? आपने जनरली देखा होगा, जो हम थ्रू आउट लाइफ हम दिन में हम खड़े रहते हैं, जो हमारे ग्रेविटेशन फोर्स लगती है वो हमारे जो ब्रेन को जो ब्लड की ज्यादा सबसे ज्यादा रिक्वायरमेंट होती है नीचे तरफ खींचती है। जब ये पोस्चर्स करते हैं जो हमारे ब्रेन को प्लेंटी ऑफ ब्लड की सप्लाई होती है, जो सप्लाई होती है तो ब्रेन का प्रॉपर फंक्शनिंग काम करना स्टार्ट हो जाता है। और अगेन सिंपल ब्रीदिंग प्रैक्टिसेस, सिर्फ ब्रीदिंग को ऑब्जर्व करना है, या अनुलोम विलोम भी कर सकते हैं। ये आपके बॉडी के अंदर ऑक्सीजन मात्रा, ऑक्सीजन की इनटेक को इंक्रीज कर देंगे और आपकी लर्निंग कैपेसिटी को बढ़ाएंगे।
Okay. So, Tilak, sir, would you mention, would you like to stress something for the students here?
For that's a topic of a debate itself. What
Hmm.
works and what doesn't work, because the practice, like I said, it doesn't have to be one particular posture or asana. What we need is any type of physical activity to start with, right? And that can be in a form of asana, that can be in a form of an exercise. Yes, yoga is a low impact exercise. It will have a because it's a can be done in a limited space, or in a space where you don't need a lot of fancy stuff. You can do that, but I would recommend allowing them to start doing more physical activity, because that helps them to do their physical development. And the postures where, or the asanas or the exercise that makes them do both sides of the body alternatively, because that will help them to do motor skill development. you know it will help them to increase their ability to muscular coordination, hand and eye coordination, um, one hand moving forward and one hand moving backward. So that's what we are looking at. um, Overall development of an individual, rather than, oh, I just want to focus. You can have a better mind, but then what are you going to do with your body? So you develop your attention, you develop your focus. And because when you start doing these actions, that helps you to, like I mentioned previously as well, ability to manage your emotions. They will help you to manage emotions. And not, you don't want someone to go on over your head whole day, but what you want to do, or what you want to reinforce, is that how do you do it? Okay. What that
Right.
represents in your daily life. Sitting forward bend or Paschimottanasana, touching your forehead to your knee, is not a purpose based on my understanding. What you want to do, what you want to understand, are you flexible enough in your life, in your daily routine, in your work, that if there is a difficult situation, you're ready to adapt. You're flexible with your mind and body. When things go upside down, are you able to adapt accordingly? And that's
Very
what we
nice.
call, managing emotions, managing anxiety. And that helps you, because then what you do, you prepare yourself better. You We call it executive functioning, where people will develop the ability of anticipation. you know you're planning better now. You do your goal selection better. So when we talk about the executive functioning, improving self-regulation, all these methods, you know, allow you to grow better, not only academically, but in life in general. Okay.
Beautiful. Very nice.
Yeah. So
I
I
think,
would
sir,
say
so for
yes.
the students, the three takeaways that to improve through yoga is one is to practice Surya Namaskar, the second is mind controlling, and the third one is the breathing exercise. I think the three that you both have summarized here for the students, and it is very important for the children to practice it to gain more access in terms of their strength.
Yeah, we can say that. I'm just will say you don't have to control mind or anything. You just start doing it. Start improving yourself. So once you start doing that, it's like a dominoes effect.
Mm.
One thing happens and then you start enjoying it, and then you go further. Then you go to the next step. So that's what we are looking at.
Right, sir. So I think the parents been watching here or the students watching basically focus on these three practices to improve your academic success and to get more discipline in your life, which is actually going to be helping you your academy as well. Sir, so we have touched on a very important aspect that is talking about yoga for students. Furthermore, let's talk about yoga as wellness, as meditation, as we talk about mind. So, mind controlling when we talk about. So, Tilak, the next one is for you. That how we are specifically talking about the mindfulness or the wellness that we have in yoga.
Mm. So look at that way. Mandeep sir mentioned about Yog Nidra. Okay, that is now called mindfulness practice. Okay, you don't have to lie down. You can sit down and do a mindfulness practice. While you're sitting now on the chair, you can close your eyes, and just observe your breath. Once you observe that breath a couple of times, then you go, okay, now I want to um, intentionally want to focus on one inhalation, and I want to inhale for 4 or 5 seconds. Then I want to exhale for 4 or 5 seconds. That's how you're going to start working on it. Okay, mindfulness practice, um, that's called pranayama. But even before you reach to pranayama, okay, a lot of the time it's not the control of your breath. I will say ayam is the expansion of the breath. Okay, pranayam. Or look at the expanding the ayam or expanding the dimension of your own breath. That's what I will call pranayama. Breathe. Focus on your breath. Close your eyes a couple of times. Then once you feel like, okay, I can't control it, come out. Observe how much time you have spent. Maybe a minute or two. Perfectly fine. Next time, try again. Okay, give yourself a minute. Okay, I just need to be in that sense. So not, I won't say control the breath, I'll say observe the breath. Close your eyes, just sit down. And when you do that, you start learning about your own self. Okay.
Very nice, sir. So, as we already discussed about the students, we are moving to the working professionals now. So, any
Mm-hmm.
tip and advice for the working professionals in the workplaces, how yoga can be helpful to them, how it is going to improve on their strength and their mind, and some asanas we have already discussed. Furthermore, if we can add something else for them.
uh, Occupational issues are different. So occupational is depending on, let's say, if you are working professional, especially computers, then you are gonna face issues with your back and neck. But if you are a professional who is on their feet whole day, you'll start feeling sore legs and lower back pain. Okay, so there is no one pill works for all. If there was one, I've been working on it for a while. If I have one, I'll distribute to everyone. But think about it occupational. Okay, so if your occupation has some hazard, or your occupation has some tendency of a repetitive strain on your body, you want to reduce that. Like I said, sitting, you can please make sure your legs are not hanging, you're sitting upright. If your job is to stand a lot during the day, make sure you have right footwear. And that's why I say holistic, not only yoga, but if you're standing whole day, do you wear right footwear? Is there enough cushioning? Is there a pronation of your ankles? Do you have weaker hips? Do you have tight IT band? All those information, we collect, and then we design programs. So if you want to say standing professional, go when you go home, place your legs up against the wall. You know, um, if you are sitting, then you go, you know, do more chest opening. If you are doing what you call, if you have a lot of bending and picking up stuff, you want to go the other way around. You want to lie on your back and create the arch back in your leg and your back. That's how you adapt the practice. Okay, so occupational, again, for work or lifestyle, you change. You have 5 minutes, do pranayama, do surya namaskar. You have an hour, do what you need to do. If you have, few hours a day, I don't know, depending on how much time nowadays people have, so you can adapt accordingly. Okay, just make sure you know what hazard, what repetitive strain and injuries your workplace brings to you, or your work routine brings to you.
Rightly said, sir. So I think working professionals can keep a notice of it. And yes, of course, very rightly you mentioned about the cushioning of the footwear, especially people who mislead and do not wear the right footwear. Everything is not about practicing and bringing up a change in your physical movement. It is also about the small, small things that we do in our life. So, Mandeep, your take on this, sir?
I will add one more point. जितने भी आपके बेसिक जॉइंट्स हैं, चाहे वो कोई सा प्रोफेशनल वर्किंग हो, सिटिंग का हो या स्टैंडिंग का कोई भी हो, हेड टू टोस मूवमेंट ये हार्डली इट विल टेक 3 to 5 minutes. वो मूवमेंट पर डे आपकी होनी चाहिए. और आपको ये भी आइडेंटिफाई करना चाहिए जिस प्रोफेशन में हो, उस प्रोफेशन में आप किन चीज़ों से डील कर रहे हो. सपोज दैट आप लैपटॉप का यूज कर रहे हो, तो लैपटॉप की जो प्लेसमेंट है किस तरह की होनी चाहिए. आप चेयर पर बैठे हो, तो चेयर किस तरह की आपको चेयर यूज करनी चाहिए. हर चीज को आपको आइडेंटिफाई करना पड़े कि आपके लाइफ में छोटे छोटे चेंजेस ला के एक बड़ा चेंजेस कैसे उसको आपके लाइफ में ला सकते हो. कि जितने भी डिसऑर्डर हैं, और हम बात करें डिसऑर्डर को दो पार्ट में डिवाइड करते हैं, एनसीटी और सीटी, नॉन कम्युनिकेबल डिजीज जिसको बोलते हैं, और सीटी बोलते हैं कम्युनिकेबल डिजीज. ये सारे लाइफ स्टाइल डिसऑर्डर हैं जितने, इनमें अपनी लाइफ में चेंजेस ला के आप इनको डिसऑर्डर से कंप्लीटली फ्री हो सकते हो आप. तो छोटे छोटे चेंजेस आपको लाने, और प्लस हेड टू टोस मूवमेंट आपको इसमें एड ऑन करने हैं. और ये हेड टू टोस तो सबके लिए मैंडेटरी है, और जो लाइफस्टाइल जितने भी आपको ये चीजें ऑब्जर्व करनी है वर्किंग आपके एनवायरमेंट के एटमॉस्फेयर के अकॉर्डिंग वो ऑब्जर्व करना कि आपका कैसा है, किस तरह से चीजों से आप डील कर रहे हो. जैसा एक एग्जांपल देते हुए सर ने भी बताया था, आप स्टैंडिंग से करते हो तो रात में आके आपको अपने लेग्स को अप करना है. अगर आपकी सिटिंग है तो आपको देखना आपके चेस्ट वगैरह कैसे हैं. अगर आप हील्स वगैरह यूज कर रहे हैं तो उसका कम करना होगा आपको, कि उसके जो आपका पेल्विक पे बहुत नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट आता है. तो इन छोटे छोटे रिलेटेड चेंजेस करके भी हम अपनी हेल्थ को बहुत एक सिस्टमेटिक और एक राइट अप्रोच के साथ हेल्दी लाइफ जी सकते हैं. और बेसिकली इसमें एक चीज और एड ऑन करनी होगी, जैसे हम बेसिकली आइज के लिए बहुत चीजें प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, लैपटॉप डेस्कटॉप वगैरह यूज बहुत है. तो इसमें हम अपने क्या है, थ्राटिक प्रैक्टिसेस हैं, थंब के थ्रू प्रैक्टिसेस हैं, उनका भी कर सकते हैं दिन में प्रैक्टिसेस, या आंखों को हम वॉश कर सकते हैं. छोटे छोटे चेंजेस बहुत बड़े चेंजेस ला सकते हैं.
Actually, this is very important to note, sir. Very rightly said. So, moving ahead, talking about the working professionals, let's talk further about the eco consciousness. Today, eco yoga is becoming quite common, and environmental concerns people are really developing. So, quickly forwarding the session, Sir Tilak, would you like to take up further that how the outdoor and eco conscious yoga practices has been taking place in New Zealand?
uh, in New Zealand, it was -1 in the morning today. I don't think anyone would like to go and in the park when the grass is frozen and you walk on it, it's like cracks like a biscuit. So depending on the environment you live in, you may have heard of, you know, adaptability. So, and yoga is adaptable. So you, what you want to do is, yes, you want to connect to the nature, come to New Zealand. It's very beautiful, natural itself. But in winter, don't think about going out and practicing it. So, you know, that's how it works. You know, you got to go according to the nature, right? According to the environment you live in. Nowadays, you may have heard, so we have sheeps, let's say on farms, people go and practice around them. All these things can work depending on environment. So nowadays, people are doing those experimental practice. You may have heard about goat yoga,
Mhm.
bear yoga, and whatnot. You know, but again, it's all, the essence of yoga needs to remain true to, you know, its roots.
Just a way to connect to the nature much better.
Yeah, nature. What is nature? You know, when we talk about, so Patanjali talks about Purusha and Prakriti. So Prakriti, your nature, your own nature. It's not talking about outside yet. It's not talking about you go in the mountain, live in Himalayas, and only then you can attain samadhi. No, it doesn't work that way. What you need to find out is your own nature, your own self. That's what nature I usually refer to. You know, if it was that people can attain samadhi reaching to Himalayas, Himalaya would have been populated already. You know, so many people would have visited and sat down there. It doesn't work that way. So got to start the journey within. You know, and in Bhagavad, Sri Krishna also mentioned that, you know, yoga, the journey starts from within and finishes within. Again, I'll repeat, yoga samatya uchyate. It doesn't matter where you are. Okay. Yes, people, it's again, it's the how to say, modern media, social media thing. They want to catch. Yeah, you can. Yes, you can do it in the mountain. You can do wherever you like, but you got to connect to yourself. So do your practice where you feel more connected to yourself. Yeah.
Right, sir. Mandeep, sir, your take on this, sir. So, nature-based yoga for students, how it has been connecting with the simplest of the ideas and making it been more popular today, becoming eco-conscious and more yoga practices in the environment and the nature.
इसमें जो मेरा व्यू होगा, इफ यू टॉक अबाउट द स्टूडेंट्स, तो नेचर योग के थ्रू हम, अगर हम उसे ओपन प्लेटफॉर्म पे या योगासन कराते हैं ओपन ग्राउंड वगैरह में, तो हम उसे नेचर थ्रू से कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं। हाउ वी कैन टेक केयर ऑफ दिस नेचर जो हमें गॉड गिफ्टेड है, और कैसे हम इस नेक्स्ट जनरेशन को पास ऑन कर सकते हैं। जैसे आपने ग्लोबल वार्मिंग का कॉन्सेप्ट तो सुना ही होगा, या मैं थोड़ा सा अपना स्टेप इसको इनवर्ड, जो योगा की जो जर्नी है अपने आप से कनेक्ट करने की, उससे हटा के थोड़ा एक दूसरा पर्सपेक्टिव रखना चाहूंगा कि जो ग्लोबल वार्मिंग का रीजन क्या है, उस पर कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करोगे जब आप नेचर से कनेक्टेड ही नहीं रहोगे। जब स्टूडेंट्स को हम उस नेचर के थ्रू कनेक्ट करेंगे, योगा प्रैक्टिस थ्रू उनको बताएंगे और फील कराएंगे कैसे आपको एक्सपीरियंस होता है जब नेचर से कनेक्टेड करते हो, कैसे आपको माइंड एकदम काम की स्टेट में चला जाता है नेचर से कनेक्ट करते हुए। तो जब वो इस चीज को एक्सपीरियंस करेंगे, इसको ग्रांटेड नहीं लेंगे, और उसका फिर वो उसकी टेक केयर करेंगे, और टेक केयर करेंगे तो वो एक जनरली एक अच्छा इम्पैक्ट डालेगा सोसाइटी पे। तो इसका मेरा सपोर्ट यस, इज फॉर द स्टूडेंट्स पर्पस अच्छा है। अदरवाइज योगा स्टार्ट, इट टोटली डिपेंड्स ऑन द एटमोसफेयर। आप जिस एटमोसफेयर में रहते हैं उसके अकॉर्डिंग आप उसको प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं। ये मैंडेटरी नहीं है कि हाँ आपको करना ही है, इट टोटली डिपेंड्स ऑन यू। ये आपका इंडिविजुअल कॉल है।
Right, sir. So it's more of making it more pleaseworthy and to create a kind of an environment that people have started to associate that doing it in the nature gives you more peace and more relaxation than possibly doing it at home. So it's just a kind of a feeling that is associated with it to become more relaxed. Thank you so much, sir. As we are moving ahead, we're moving to we have already seen the perspective for students, we have seen for work professionals, we have seen for the environment. Now we're moving ahead to the last topic for the session as we're nearing the end. How globally we have been connecting with yoga. So when we talk about global yoga, that is specifically the future of yoga that we've been having. So how do we associate as gurus in yoga that we can talk about the yoga's future? Satilak?
Oh, glo- future of yoga, the global yoga future. I think for, for if you want India to lead, we have to put a lot more understanding towards it, because based on my experience, the research work I was conducting, I found that not a lot of research is done on the physical aspect of it. Okay, the research which is done are more research is done on theoretical aspect of it. And if you want to make it global, we got to bring scientific evidences of tangibility of yoga. How do we um, generate that information? So research, a lot of research work is required, and it has to be the highest standard in order for us to, reach to that level. The second thing is regulatory commission, or some regularity is required, or standardization is required for the institutions across. You know, to teach in New Zealand, I need to have a certain standard. To teach in Australia, I have to have certain standard. And in order for me to do that, I have to show my qualification, competency, and I'm competent enough to teach and provide evidence for it. So all these things are done as we go. We all are evolving, in global aspect of it. We are still working on, relatively yoga is not a new concept to us, but since it's International Day of Yoga, it's only what, 9-10 years now. So it will take a while for people to get aware of it. But what what I'm saying, or I'll emphasize again, is that we need to work more on providing evidence-based practices. We have to provide evidence to the Western world, scientific evidences, and documented practice. It won't work in mumbo jumbo. It won't work in the air. We can't shoot the arrow in the air. We need to have evidences that will help us to bring yoga mainstream. If we want people to work, if we want people to practice, if we want people to follow yoga, we need to make sure it is accessible to people. At the same time, it provides evidence for them to believe, to rely on.
So as we talk about yoga as a complementary practice, like what does that mean?
So yoga is a complementary practice. I'll say it's not one truth. It's not one truth. Yoga has the ability to adapt. Yoga has the ability to complement. Okay, so yoga, when you talked about yoga, it's a huge dhatu, jorna, right? Bringing together. So that jorna is not only in a practice, it's also to connect yourself to nature. It is also to connect your daily work lifestyle to yoga, complementing rather than, say, no, 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 you do yoga only. No, it has to be complementing. It has to be a supported part. It has to be, or it should come together, that if you do this, it also helps you. Okay, improving lifestyle. Okay, doing your daily routine work effectively and efficiently is also yoga. Okay, so this practice helps you to improve your daily functions. It helps you, if you remain pain free, you'll work better. If you remain stress free, you will sleep better. If you do mobility work, you do restorative work, you are more energized. So you're complementing your practice rather than you're taking your practice away from you. Add on to it, and that will help you in individual's journey. But in global perspective, like I mentioned, we need more robust um, information. We need more robust research. We need more robust standards to reach and attain. Yeah.
Very nice, sir. So as Mandeep sir, as Dr. Tilak you have mentioned about evidences and research practices, which is being supposed to be added up for yoga. What is your take, sir, that how yoga can be a global future for India, in India, how we can be basically helping in terms of it?
uh, I totally agree with the sir. Need to do research on yoga, because if we look at the previous years, बेसिकली बहुत कम रिसर्चेस हुए हैं योगा पे, और वो बहुत एक कम पर्सपेक्टिव को लेके हुए हैं। और कोई योग की तरफ इनिशिएटिव या इंटरेस्ट क्यों ले, उसके लिए कोई एविडेंस तो होना चाहिए, कोई इंटरेस्ट तो हो, उसकी ऑथेंटिसिटी तो, हाँ ये करने से ये रिजल्ट्स आते हैं, ये फेवर में आते हैं। जब रिसर्चेस आएंगी, उनके रिजल्ट्स आएंगे, तो उनके जो योग के ऊपर जो क्रेडिबिलिटी है, जो उसके ऊपर जो एक बिलीफ सिस्टम है वो डेवलप होगा, तो लोग उसमें और इंडल्ज होंगे, इन्वॉल्व होंगे, उसको और प्रैक्टिस करेंगे। कि जनरली हम बहुत दिनों से कहते हैं योगा इज अ वे ऑफ लाइफ, योग करने से ये होता है, पर उसके करंट सिनेरियो में हर चीज के लिए एविडेंस, रिसर्च, इसके पीछे क्या लॉजिक है, क्या रिजल्ट है, क्या आउटकम है, क्या है उनके पीछे, कुछ फैक्ट्स तो होने चाहिए। चाहिए फैक्ट्स कैसे आज की यूथ के सामने रखेंगे, जो फैक्ट्स को वो चेक करेंगे, तो उनको बिलीफ एक और डेवलप होगा कि हाँ इन प्रैक्टिसेस के थ्रू हम ये चीजें क्योर कर सकते हैं। और जब ये चीजें क्योर की जा सकती हैं, इन चीजों को प्रिवेंशन कर सकते हैं, तो हम कैसे इन फ्यूचर इस चीज को और लीड कर सकते हैं। तो उसके लिए हमें रिसर्च बेस्ड प्रोग्राम उसके लिए ऑर्गेनाइज करने होंगे, नए नए रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट बनाने होंगे, उनके ऊपर जन पीपल्स का उस पर बिलीफ सिस्टम डेवलप करना होगा कि ये बात कहने की बात नहीं है कि ये करने से ये होता है, इसके प्रूफ क्या है, साइंटिफिक प्रूवन क्या है। कि हर चीज की ऑथेंटिसिटी, जैसे कोई भी हम पैकेज या कोई सामान लेते हैं, तो उसके पे मोहर, एक लैंडमार्क सॉरी, एक गवर्नमेंट का एक वो होता है ना कि ये इससे चेक है, इसकी ये ऑथेंटिसिटी है। जब ये चीजें इन्वॉल्व होंगी इन चीजों में, तो इसके प्रति लोगों का जो एक ट्रस्ट है वो डेवलप होगा, तो एक अच्छा फ्यूचर निकल के आएगा।
Right, sir. So we can consider that the future of yoga is quite bright, and the global world is awaiting to see more benefits and more outcomes that we have in the future world. So as we are nearing with the end of the session, we're going to soon open for the question and answers. But before that, I would like to mention we have Dr. Tilak has been practicing yoga, and that's one of the ways to reach him. Sir, would you like to mention more about Kriya Yoga, sir?
Oh, that's something. Okay. So I teach in New Zealand. I do teach online, but most of my students, those who are with me online, they know what I talk about. They know what I refer to, and I keep it simple stuff. I try to make it as relatable to individuals' daily life, what they can do. And if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Uh, you can message me on my website. You can contact from there. You can go through YouTube or Facebook, and I can, you know, message. I can respond to your questions accordingly. And I usually say breathing is highly recommended because quite often we forget we are not breathing. Yeah. So please feel free to reach out to me if you need to. Um, I have a YouTube channel. You saw that video, which is not so great, but um, hey, it solves the purpose. So yes, reach
So
out to me.
viewers,
Thank you.
yeah, viewers and audience, this is contact to Sir Tilak. So anybody would like to reach and know more about Kriya Yoga and the practices, you can contact him. The website link has been mentioned. You can contact him on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. It's very easy and accessible. And sir has been doing a lot of good work, which possibly was reflected in one such video. By the end of the session, I'll share few more in the chat box. Also, I'll share some links. So if you can access it, review it, and see that how possibly yoga can be bringing beautiful changes in your life. Same ahead, we have Mandeep sir. Sir Mandeep has been working, and he's a professional with the Yoga Gurukul. Sir, your insights on it about.
Uh, if someone wants to connect with us, they can reach or at ये हमसे कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं थ्रू आवर वेबसाइट, थ्रू आवर इंस्टाग्राम अकाउंट्स, यूट्यूब्स वगैरह, और हम बेसिकली वी प्रोवाइड ऑनलाइन ऑफलाइन सेशंस आपको। आप हमसे किसी तरह से हमसे कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं, वी विल रिस्पॉन्स यू।
Right. So the Yoga Gurukul has been working. It's in India. It's in Noida. So anybody willing to take online or offline sessions, sir's website link has been mentioned. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. Please access to the YouTube sessions, to the videos. You will get to know much more how sir has been associated with the government organizations, and his work, how he is beautifully idealizing many of the students, how to bring a change with yoga in India. So it's noteworthy, and it's really appreciative for the kind of work that you both have been doing. It's And we are open to further question and answers. If anybody would like to ask a question, we should further. We have both the guests here, and you can please post the questions in the chat box. We are further ready to take up those questions. Few of them which we already have. Okay, so we have one question here. Okay, I have a question. What is the reason for repeated problems of navel displacement? Okay, we have already catered to this question. Furthermore, okay, would you like to suggest me something for advanced yoga?
I think Mandeep can answer that.
देयर इज नथिंग एडवांस योगा जैसा कुछ भी नहीं होता है। योगा योगी होता है। उसमें क्या होता है, यू नीड टू जस्ट, आपको ऑब्जेक्टिव समझना होगा। योग का ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है। योग को बहुत ज्यादा लोगों ने एक राइट अप्रोच है बोले, उसका मिसकंसेप्शन अबाउट योग का बहुत है। ये योगा ये है फलाना हटा योगा, कुंडलिनी योगा, ये तो ट्रेडिशनल योगा चले आ रहे हैं हमारे। पर योगा का अल्टीमेट पर्पस एक ही है, टू काम योर माइंड, टू सी द ऑब्जर्वर। आप ऑब्जर्व हो, आपको अपने आप को देखना है। देयर इज नथिंग एडवांस योगा। जो बेसिकली एडवांस पोस्टर्स वगैरह हैं, ये सिर्फ आपको ध्यान के लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं। जितनी फिजिकल प्रैक्टिसेस हैं, जितनी आपकी ब्रीदिंग प्रैक्टिसेस हैं, ये आपको सिर्फ और सिर्फ समाधि के लिए तैयार कर रहे हैं। और समाधि मतलब सॉल्यूशन ऑफ एवरी प्रॉब्लम। वो प्रोफेशनली हो सकती है, पर्सनली हो सकती है, फिजिकल बॉडी से रिलेटेड कुछ भी हो सकती है। तो
Very
हमेशा याद
nice.
रखिए, ये सारा सिर्फ एक हैप्पीनेस के स्टेट कैसे अचीव किया जाए, या दूसरे वर्ड्स में बोलूं, हम कैसे अपने ट्रू नेचर को एक्सपीरियंस कर पाए। ट्रू नेचर क्या, व्हाट वी आर। या बोलूं जितनी प्रैक्टिसेस हैं योगा की, ये हमको ये सिखाती है वी आर इमोर्टल, हम मर नहीं सकते। तो यार सबसे बड़ा डर यही तो, हम मर सकते हैं। जब ये मिथ ही आपके दिमाग से निकल गया कि मर ही नहीं सकते, तो किस बात का डर, विच टाइप ऑफ काइंड ऑफ फियर डू यू हैव। एंड ऑफ द डे सबको मरने का तो डर है। ये टीचर्स आपको इसके लिए मेंटली प्रिपेयर कर रही है। दैट्स इट।
That's really nice, sir. Sir, so
I'll add
as you
it.
mentioned, yeah, sir,
Yes.
please.
No, no, no. That's a, the okay. Advanced yoga is, we call it पोथी पढ़ पढ़ जग भया पंडित बया न कोय, और ढाई आखर प्रेम का पढ़े सो पंडित होए। Okay, so योग, जैसे मनदीप जी ने कहा कि योग जो है, योग आपको सत चित आनंद की स्थिति में लाने के लिए है। किसी को वो सच्चित आनंद की स्थिति बैठकर आ जाएगी, किसी को पैर गले के साथ में लगाकर, हाथ उसके साथ बांधकर, और सिर पर खड़े होने में भी आ जाएगी। तो जब हम एडवांस और जो उच्च स्तरीय योग की बात करते हैं, तो योग आप जो दुर्गानिका जो रेफर कर रही हैं, आई थिंक वो आसनों से रेफर कर रही हैं।
Hmm.
तो योग लुक बियॉन्ड द आसना,
Hmm.
आसनों के परे देखिए, बहुत बहुत और चीजें हैं जो आपको मदद करेंगी योग के लिए।
Sir, I think the next question is related to this only. Why attaining samadhi is impossible?
Well, it's not impossible, but depending on
Quite.
the state of samadhi, how you look at samadhi, sama adi, or a state of equal mindedness, or samatva bhav, or samadhi, that you are in the same state. There is no start, no finish. There is no starting of it, no finishing of it. You are in a state of samadhi. Sometimes you can reach in that when you don't think about something. You are so engrossed in your work, you forgot about the time. Where Patanjali mentioned about Des, Kal, Samay, Abhyantar, isn't it? Mandeep ji, कि ना समय, ना देश, ना स्थान, सब बराबर। जब आप योग के प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं, आप उस एक स्टेट में पहुंच गए जहां पे और कुछ नहीं है। There is nothing beyond it. That's what samadhi. I don't know what else you refer to samadhi. मर के ऊपर पहुंचना, किसी ने स्वर्ग नहीं देखा।
Hmm.
ठीक है, सब कुछ यही है। तो योग जो है वो आपको वर्तमान में जीना सिखाता है। योग
Very
आपको
nice.
अभी जो है, ये समय जो है, ये आपका जो समय है, इसमें कैसे जीना है, ये सिखाता है।
Very nice. So another question coming over: how has yoga evolved in so many years?
How has yoga evolved? Okay. पहले योगा करते थे आराम से बैठने के लिए, अब योगा करते हैं क्योंकि हम बहुत ज्यादा आराम से बैठते हैं। क्यों मनदीप जी, सही है ना?
Totally agree.
पतंजलि जी ने पूरा योग सूत्र लिखा कि कैसे बैठा जाए, कैसे मेडिटेशन किया जाए, कैसे ध्यान लगाया जाए, ताकि आप आराम से बैठकर कर सको। आज हम वो सब कर रहे हैं, ना ध्यान करते हैं और आसन करते हैं। जितना समय हम बैठने में आज लगा देते हैं, शायद उतना पतंजलि जी ने भी नहीं लगाया। मनदीप जी
Mandeep
कुछ
sir,
ऐड?
would you like to add, sir?
हाँ, मैं समाधि वाले क्वेश्चन पे कुछ चीज ऐड ऑन करना चाहूंगा। उन्होंने इम्पॉसिबल टास्क कुछ बोला था समाधि के लिए।
Hmm.
एक्चुअली वी आर ऑलरेडी इन समाधि, हमें पता ही नहीं है कि हम समाधि में। क्यों? इफ वी रीड द क्लासिकल टेक्स्ट, योग दर्शन में कमेंट्री लिखी थी स्वामी महर्षि वेद व्यास ने। तो उन्होंने माइंड का जो नेचर बताया है, कोर बताया, और सार्वभौम से चित्त से सार धर्म, मतलब माइंड का जो धर्म है, मतलब उसकी प्रॉपर्टी क्या जो है, वो समाधि है। समाधि माने सॉल्यूशन, हर चीज का सॉल्यूशन। अब वो सॉल्यूशन आ क्यों नहीं रहा? ये ऐसे हैं, जितने भी पेन्स वगैरह या जितने भी हमें प्रॉब्लम्स नजर आती है, ये बाई चॉइस है हमारी। एक एग्जांपल थोड़ा सा समझाना चाहूंगा। जैसे मूवी चल रही है थिएटर में, मूवी में कोई एक सीन चल रहा है इमोशनल, मूवी थिएटर पे चल रही है, पर इमोशनल हम हो रहे हैं कि हमने इमोशनल होना चूज किया है। तो ऑलरेडी वी आर इन पीस, पर हमने पीस को नेग्लेक्ट कर दिया है कि हम बहुत ज्यादा एंगेज हो गए, अपने सेंसेस को इन्वॉल्व कर दिया अदर एक्टिविटीज में। हम अपने साथ टाइम का स्पेंड कर रहे हैं। अभी हम लोग 3 लोग हमें बात कर रहे हैं, हम सिंपल से शांत होकर बैठ जाए तो हम देखेंगे हमारे थॉट अपने आप कम होते चले जाएंगे। और वी डोंट नो हाउ टू स्पेंड टाइम विद अस। जब हम अपने साथ टाइम स्पेंड करते हैं, तो ऑटोमेटिक हम पीस में जाते जाते हैं। हमने क्या अपने आप को इन्वॉल्व कर दिया अदर एक्टिविटीज में इतना ज्यादा कि हम अपने रियल नेचर को ही, या जो अपने साथ टाइम स्पेंड, या जो समाधि वर्ड यूज किया, उसको ही भूल गए हैं। इसलिए हम हर चीजें भागते हैं कि वहां से हमें पीस मिल जाए, वहां से मिल जाए, जबकि पीस विद इन आवर सेल्फ। तिलक सर, सही कहा गलत?
सही, बिल्कुल सही है। तभी कहा ना कि समाधि यही हो आप, यही सब है। जब उस एक भाव
जहां
में
आप वहां
रहोगे।
समाधि है।
हाँ, समत्व। आपने जब वो पीस, इक्वल माइंड ले लिया, वो समाधि है।
So the next question coming us, please can you say about Ashtang Yoga?
अष्टांग
अष्टांग
योग।
योग को,
मनदीप जी।
ओके, आई विल टेक ओनली 1 मिनट। अष्टांग योग क्या है? जब यूनिवर्स क्रिएट हुआ था तो गॉड ने वेद दिए। वेद का जो कोर क्रस महर्षि पतंजलि ने योग दर्शन में दिया। उन्होंने बोला आपको यूनिवर्स में हैप्पी रहने के लिए ज्यादा दिमाग नहीं लगाना है। 8 लिम्स है, 8 लिम्स है, 8 एक्शंस, ये 8 चीजें आपको करनी है। इसके अलावा नौवा कोई काम करना ही नहीं है खुश होने के लिए। पर हमने क्या किया? हमने अपना ब्रेन यूज किया। हमने 8 काम के अलावा सारे काम किए। वो 8 काम कौन से हैं? यम, सोसाइटी के साथ कैसे बिहेव करना है, टू स्पीक ट्रूथ, चोरी नहीं करनी, झूठ नहीं बोलना, टू फॉलो द सेलिबेसी। अब आते नियम पे, सोच, संतोष, कंटेनमेंट, ऑस्टिरिटी, तप, आसन, फिजिकल मूवमेंट। जितने भी डिसऑर्डर है आज के लैक ऑफ मूवमेंट की वजह से है। ब्रीदिंग, ब्रीदिंग पे फोकस न करने से इश्यूज हैं। फिर आप सेंसेस के साथ कैसे बिहेवियर कर रहे हो, हम वो भी भूल गए हैं। फिर माइंड के साथ कैसे बिहेवियर करो, सारे जो 8 एक्शंस हैं इनको हमने कंप्लीटली इग्नोर कर दिया, या इनकी जो टीचिंग थी हमारे अप्रोच से बाहर चल गई। तभी ही लोग इतने ज्यादा, आप देखोगे, प्रॉब्लम में या पेन में है। कि सोसाइटी सोसाइटी टेंडेंसी आप रिसेंटली इंक्रीज हुए हैं। पुराने लोगों को कहाँ होती थी इतने? तिलक सर सही कहा, कितने लोग सुसाइड करते थे पहले। श्री कृष्ण के साथ तो उनका पैदा होते ही नहीं, उनके से पेरेंट्स उनसे छीन लिए। राम से तो उनका पूरा राज्य छीन लिया। उनको तो कुछ मेंटली, उनको तो मन में थॉट्स नहीं आया कि मैं सुसाइड अटेम्प्ट कर लेता हूँ। दे नो व्हाट दे वांट टू डू और व्हाट दे डोंट वांट टू डू। और उन्होंने जानते से उन्हें 8 स्टेप्स है, 8 काम ही करने, नवा कुछ करना ही नहीं, अपना दिमाग लगाना ही नहीं। तो ये 8 अंग है। और बाकी तिलक सर इस पे अपने थॉट्स व्यूज देंगे।
देखिए, अष्टांग योग, अगर आप अष्टांग योग जो फेमस है उसकी बात कर रहे हैं तो बात अलग है। वो एक जो प्रैक्टिस है, पटाबाई जॉयस ने शुरू की थी, वो अष्टांग योगा अलग है। वो सिर्फ एक फिजिकल प्रैक्टिस है जिसको नाम दिया गया है अष्टांग योग का। बट जैसा मनदीप जी ने कहा कि अष्टांग योग, तो अष्टांग योग वही है। 8 जो जो हिस्से हैं और जो स्टेप हैं योग के, यम, नियम, आसन, प्राणायाम, प्रत्याहार, धारणा, ध्यान, समाधि, वो 8 हम यूजुअली रेफर करते हैं अष्टांग योग में। तो
Thank you so much, sir. I think we have taken most of the questions. There are more questions pouring in. How can yoga grow spiritually? And furthermore, talking about the long term benefits, talking about the questions for the naval displacement. Then, furthermore, we are talking about the diet practices that has been required in advanced yoga. So, all of you can contact both the gurus. The email IDs and contact numbers and Instagram accounts is already been there. I think we can take one last question from the audience and then we will be closing for the session today. So the question is, sir, to reduce down to the weight, what is the best asana that possibly can be taken?
आई वुड लाइक टू सजेस्ट सात्विक डाइट फॉर द योगिक प्रैक्टिसेस, नॉट एडवांस। आपकी जितनी योगिक प्रैक्टिसेस है उसके लिए सात्विक डाइट मैं प्रेफर करूंगा। सात्विक में क्या? जो हमें नेचुरल गॉड गिफ्टेड चीजें हैं, जितना भी प्रोसेस फूड से बचें, बेसिकली प्रोसेस फूड से बचिए सारा। और हो सके तो नॉन वेज से भी बचें। और जितने गॉड गिफ्टेड आइटम्स हैं जो बाय नेचर हमसे डायरेक्टली हमें मिले हैं, उनका जितना लोगे उससे आपकी हेल्थ और माइंड दोनों अच्छे रहेंगे।
Sir Tilak, would you like to add something?
why the weight is increasing? You know, I'll go back to the basic. Why the weight is increasing? Is it lack of physical activity? Is it intake of excess food? Is it combination of both? Is it due to an illness? You know? If I say you go and run 5 kilometers every day, and the person who is asking, if don't have one leg, what they gonna do? Getting my point? So yoga is, um, yeah, it can be, it's a vehicle to go to, your destination or to your journey. But again, it's not simple. Why that is happening? There are a number of reasons behind it. If you will say maybe the next question, but I eat very nice. I eat vegetarian. Then why it is happening? Is it the excess of carbs in your diet? Is it lack of physical activity? No, I do enough physical activity. Are you doing enough, or are you eating more than what you're supposed to? Are you also sitting? Are you a potato couch? No, a couch potato, we call it. You're sitting. Once you ran 2 kilometers and then you came back and sat for next 4 hours. So body adapts. So you got to do all your homework before you think about it. Why am I having this? Is my diet right? Is my physical activity right? All those things. And do I have a problem that um, maybe thyroid? Who knows? But nothing to do with your diet, nothing to do with your exercise. Yeah, that's what I
Right.
will say. Yeah, and that's why like I said, I work before giving anything. Just what else might be the contributing factor.
Thank you so much, sir. I think that with this, we close the question and answer round session, and we near to the end of the session. So, audience, as we conclude this enlightening session, my heart has been filled with deep gratitude. Today's dialogue was more than a conversation. It is more of a union of minds and spirits united by timeless wisdom of yoga. A heartfelt thank you to our esteemed speakers who brought not just expertise but sincerity, vision, and a depth of to this platform. Mr. Mandeep, thank you for reminding us to the roots of yoga, not just a discipline of the body, but a pathway to authenticity, living, and collective wellness. So, your dedication to traditional practices, community programs, and national collaboration speaks volume about your unwavering commitment to accessible and meaningful yoga education. Mandeep sir, we are really grateful for you that you could take out time and join for today's session. We're really grateful, sir. Dr. Tilak Raj, we are deeply and immensely grateful for the scientific and the global lens you offer today. Your integration of the research, pedagogies, and traditional knowledge has shown us that yoga, when grounded in evidence, can not only transform individuals but also revolutionize wellness education across continents. Sir Tilak has been running really neck to neck with his sessions, and he's really occupied, but he still could take out certain time for us, specifically saying that he's really not having the time and the space to give, but still he could take out the time, especially for the session. We're really in that grateful to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining with us today.
Thank you, Divya. Thank you. And remember, please, if you have questions, I ask more questions. That's how I
That's great.
teach. Yeah. Yeah.
So that is what we look forward to, of course, and that's how learning takes place.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Have a great day. Have or
Thank you.
night here. You have a rest of the day. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. To everyone who has joined us, our educators, wellness practitioners, students, and seekers from around the globe, your presence enriched today's experience. Your curiosity and commitment to learning made this journey even more powerful. May this session inspire you to reimagine yoga as a lifelong calling, personal yet deeply professional. Integrate yogic values in your teaching, learning, and leadership, and foster a global culture of conscious living, well being, and mindful education. Let us carry today's energy forward, off the mat, in our thoughts, in our classrooms, and in our communities. On behalf of Educational Connect with DM, I thank you all for being a part of the global wellness movement. Until we meet again, stay inspired, stay grounded, and stay connected. Dhanyawad and namaskar.